The Radiance of Pokémon wisdom. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 376, Zyros' style of fighting. The king swallow flapped its wings and turned into a beam of light, attacking Steelix at high speed. Although it is not known for its speed, it is, relatively speaking, given its race value, its speed is definitely top-notch. Sandstorm, Zahu said calmly. Steelix's body, which was made of pieces of steel and rock, spun rapidly, and the flying sand spun. A huge sandstorm was born around Steelix's body, and the flying sand fell and hit people. The king swallow rushed into the storm and was immediately attacked by the sandstorm. The flying sand hit the bird, and the whole bird was caught in the airflow and spun around. Steelix, rock blockade, Zahu shouted. Steelix stretched its body, and countless rocks stretched out from the ground, hitting the king swallow fiercely, blocking the king swallow, and inflicting heavy damage. King swallow, hold on, I believe you can do it. Use your wings to flap and break the rocks. Zyros, he shouted loudly. The king swallow, which was blocked by the rocks, suddenly opened its wings and struggled in the rock blockade. Finally, it turned into a white light, broke the blockade, and flew directly out into the sky. Steel snake, sandstorm, Zahu said calmly. Steelix's body rotated again, and a huge sandstorm was born around Steelix again, with sand flying all over the sky. Master Zahu, it seems that you have a strong liking for the sandstorm move. This is the second time you have used this trick in this game. What will Zyros do next? The commentator came online. Zyros did not issue any attack orders when facing Steelix's sandstorm. Steel snake, maintain the use of sandstorm, expand the power of sandstorm to the maximum, and then attack the king swallow with sandstorm, Zahu said calmly. Zyros' king swallow is a meat shield, and he has implemented Zyros' usual fighting style. It has fighting attributes. The 5 tricks he has learned so far are peck, wing attack, spin attack, shadow clone, and lightning flash. In addition to the shadow clone used to dodge, the remaining tricks are all close combat attacks. Just use the sandstorm trick to cover Steelix with a layer of sandstorm and prevent the king swallow from approaching. The outcome of this game was basically decided. Zahu ordered Steelix to use sandstorms continuously, and the sandstorms were getting bigger and bigger in the field, and they were seen spreading to most of the field. Zyros also tried to fight several times, but he could not break through Steelix's sandstorms, and was hurt several times. Zyros, what are you doing? King Swallow has no effective means of long-range attack, and can't break through Steelix's sandstorms, and can't get close to Steelix. If it continues like this, it will lose. Why don't you change your Pokémon? Zyadasheng looked anxious. Although he thought that Zahu would definitely win in the end, he and Zyros had been traveling together for so long, and their relationship became deeper and deeper. Subjectively, he still hoped that Zyros would win. Zyros has no choice. In addition to King Swallow, the remaining Pokémon are Lucario, Suicune, Pikachu, and Forest Lizard. Pikachu's attributes are restrained. Lucario must be kept as the main force, and Suicune will not be used by Zyros unless Zahu uses entry. Zyadagang said. So that's how it is. What should Zyros do? Zyadasheng said worriedly. But King Yan is no match for Steelix. Steelix will win this match. Steelix will win 3 in a row. Zatrin said. No, Zyros won't give up just like that. He and King Yan are not so fragile. His perseverance and ambition are more than just this little bit, especially when facing brother Zahu, who he always wants to surpass. Zyraksha said firmly. Can it be defeated? Zatrin looked at the game in confusion. Zyros in the competition field didn't know about the conversation between Zyraksha and the others. He just looked at the growing sandstorm with a more solemn expression. There were not many other choices. Steelix must be defeated. King Yan, rush into the sandstorm directly and attack Steelix. I believe you can do it. Zyros shouted. King Yan's wings vibrated, and he resolutely followed Zyros' command, and rushed into the sandstorm, but the flying sand swept the King Yan and soon encountered obstacles. Big Swallow, I believe in your courage. You can do it. We can definitely overcome the difficulties ahead. Zyos, he shouted with all his might, his eyes revealing a strong determination. Encouraged by Zyos, Big Swallow flapped its wings, and it seemed as if a magical power was growing on its body. It turned into a white light, tore a hole in the sandstorm, and rushed straight to Steelix. Okay, Big Swallow, use your wings to hit. Zyos, he shouted excitedly. So Big Swallow flapped its wings fiercely, and was about to hit Steelix. Gyro Ball Big Swallow attacked at a high speed, but Zahu did not panic, and ordered calmly. Steelix's body rotated 360 degrees, forming a sharp arc, and fiercely clashed with Big Swallow's wings. With a slight sound, Steelix retreated, and Big Swallow also flew to the side. What a wonderful collision. Zyos, he finally launched another offensive, fierce and courageous, commanding the King Swallow to rush into the huge storm, showing the King Swallow's strong physical strength and the amazing tacit understanding between the trainer and the Pokémon, as well as the trainer's meticulous tactics. He is worthy of being the champion of this KIR conference and his main Pokémon. And Master Zahu is even more worthy of the title of Champion Master. Facing the unexpectedly strong attack of the King Swallow, he immediately used the Gyro Ball trick to defend and counterattack. The commentator watched for a long time and finally saw the highlight of the game, and explained excitedly. Zahu heard the commentary, but rolled his eyes in annoyance. The amazing tacit understanding is amazing tacit understanding, but the meticulous tactics? Commentator, your eyesight is not good. It's a completely crazy combination. One really dares to command, and the other really dares to do it. Change your Pokémon, and see if it will die in it. King Swallow, a flash of lightning. Breaking through the sandstorm, Zyos, he launched an attack brazenly, showing his usual strong attack style. Steel Snake, charge at the expense of your life. Zahu said. Steelix's Stonehead is not affected by the reaction force of the ultimate move, so the ultimate move of charging at the expense of your life is perfect. The snake and the bird clashed fiercely, and the momentum was fierce. The King Swallow had sharp eyes and an unprecedented firmness in his eyes. At the moment of the fierce confrontation, a faint blue shadow suddenly appeared on his body surface, and his aura became more fierce. It collided with Steelix like Mars hitting the earth, raising a large piece of sand. After the smoke and sand cleared, Steelix fell to the ground with a weak face, and the King Swallow flew freely in the sky, showing the joy of victory. Steel Snake, lose the ability to fight, the referee pronounced. The commentator was also very excited and said, contestant Zyos finally showed his strong strength. In the first game of the second half, he commanded the King Swallow to defeat Master Zahu's Steelix. The game began to become confusing. Who will win? Chapter 377 Become stronger when facing a strong opponent. Just now, the last attack trick of the King Swallow was Brave Bird, right? When did Zyos' King Swallow learn it? Zyarksha said uncertainly. It should be learned during the battle. In order to respond to Zyos' persistence and encouragement, the King Swallow also did its best to respond to Zyos' trust and support. It is a very characteristic style of Zyos' battle. Zyanagang said. Is it a response to Zyos' trust? This is the power brought by the deep bond between Pokémon and trainers. Zatrin said. This kind of confidence is what he lacks the most. It's Zyos, this idiot, who is messing around again. Because of good luck, the King Swallow temporarily learned Brave Bird. Zyomeo, who is most familiar with Zyos, complained mercilessly. Luck? Zatrin said with a little doubt. It's luck, but it is a phenomenon that can only happen based on the deep bond between Zyos and Pokémon. It is luck, not pure luck. Professor Oak said, luck is a pure accidental event, and luck is a phenomenon that can only be achieved when there is strength. Therefore, Professor Oak likes Zyos' fighting style very much. Because Professor Oak's main research direction is the relationship between humans and Pokémon, his biggest proposition is that humans and Pokémon live in harmony, and Pokémon should be regarded as companions who share life and death, rather than tools. But after solving the first one, which one is more challenging? It's not particularly good to beat Steelix. After all, Steelix has experienced 2 battles, and this is the 3rd one. Shinji stared at the field, and the next battle would be more meaningful. Banjira, it's your turn. Zahu took back Steelix, as if nothing had happened. Although the breakthrough of King Yan was something Zahu did not expect, the failure of Steelix was within Zahu's expectations. After all, it has not been long since he subdued Steelix and trained. Now he is only a relatively strong elite level, a little short of the Quasi-King. As he has been training for so long, it is reasonable for him to beat a Steelix. And it's an exhibition match. If he kills, while he is at the same time, the audience will not be satisfied, so there must be a return. With a flick of the Pokeball, Bangira was released. Bangira's heavyweight body appeared on the field, stirring up the wind and sand. "Big Swallow, use Brave Bird again." Zyos, he shouted. The big swallow's eyes were sharp, and a layer of bluebird phantom appeared on its feathers. It rushed down majestically, and killed forward without hesitation. "Sharp stone attack," Zahu said. Bangilla roared, and the rocks on the ground bulged. A long row of sharp rocks suddenly rose up. The first stone pillar attacked the big swallow first, giving it a critical hit, and sending it flying. Then the other 3 sharp stones continued to hit it. 4 critical hits severely damaged the big swallow. "Quicksand hell," Zahu said. Bangilla stomped on the ground hard, and a quicksand vortex formed where the big swallow fell, trapping the big swallow tightly, and making it unable to struggle. "Destroy the death light," Zahu said. Bangilla opened his mouth wide, and a terrifying and powerful energy wave brewed. The explosive attack immediately hit the big swallow, that couldn't struggle in the quicksand vortex. With a loud bang, the quicksand splashed, and covered the entire venue. The big swallow fell on its back with circles under its eyes. Beautiful attack and defense. Zyos' King Swallow's attack is still sharp, but Master Zahu's command is more like a champion. He uses defense as offense, uses sharp stone attack, to wait for Zyos' King Swallow to take the initiative to counter-attack, causing effective attribute attacks, and then uses Quicksand Hell to trap the King Swallow that fell to the ground. Let me tell you, the attribute restrictions are not single, and ground attribute moves can also have a great impact on flying Pokémon. But then again, Zyos' King Swallow is really worthy of being the evolution of the Proud Swallow. It has been continuously attacked by Rock Blockade, Extreme Sandstorm, Gyro Ball, Self-Sacrifice Collision, Sharp Stone Attack, and Destruction Death Ray before falling down, showing the backbone style of bad Pokémon. The commentator said. Zahu looked at the King Swallow on the ground and was relieved. Although the level of this King Swallow is only elite, under the effect of extreme backbone, the burst of small universe can reach the Quasi-King level or even higher. You must know that the Meat Shield Pokémon of the Quasi-King will fall down after 3 times of restraining tricks of the same level when the attributes are unfavorable. This King Swallow was hit by 4 sharp stone attacks alone, not to mention the Rock Blockade and Storm Breaking, as well as the damage caused by fighting against the Gyro Ball and self-sacrificing collision. If it hadn't been for the Destruction Ray, it might not have been defeated. Thank you for your hard work, King Swallow. Zyos picked up the Pokeball and thanked King Swallow, then looked at Pikachu next to him and said, "Pikachu, next, it's up to you." Pikachu's round red electric bag flashed with electricity and jumped into the venue. After jumping in, the invisible rock attacked again, causing damage to Pikachu. Pikachu felt pain from the force and then looked at Bangira with cute eyes, revealing a little darkness. Oh, from the cute little Pikachu to the black-bellied Pikachu. Zahu showed a playful expression. With such an expression, Pikachu was serious, which was really interesting. "Pikachu, a flash of lightning." Zyos, he said. Pikachu ran fast, turned into a white light, and rushed over quickly. "Bangira, sharp stone attack," Zahu said. Bangira roared, and terrifying power surged on his body, and countless sharp stones protruded again. "Pikachu, speed up, run along the sharp stones, and hit Bangira." Zyos, he said. Pikachu whispered, and his speed suddenly increased, and his body flashed with lightning, and instantly impacted Bangira. A small electric mouse with a height of only 0.4 meters and a weight of only 0.6 kilograms knocked down a 2-meter tall, 200 kilogram giant. Both sides use the same tactics as before, but Zyos grew rapidly, and Pikachu's speed was amazing. He actually used Bangira's sharp stone attack to attack Bangira. Next, how should Master Zahu fight back? The commentator said. Bangira, use Earthquake. Zahu said. Bangira's power surged, and the whole ground shook violently. The terrifying earthquake wave invaded over domineeringly, and the earth and rocks splashed. Pikachu suddenly showed a panic expression. Pikachu, use 100,000 volts. Zyos, he said. Pikachu stood on the ground with 2 feet, and a strong electric current surged on his body. The yellow electric current exploded and attacked all around, sweeping away the world. The earth, stones, bricks, and tiles exploded and flew around. When the lightning stopped flashing, the whole place was cleaned up again. But before Pikachu could find another chance to attack Bangira, he was shrouded by a black shadow. When he looked up, he saw Bangira standing in front of him with a ferocious face. Evil wave. Zahu said. Bangira opened his mouth wide, and the purple-black energy wave burst out fiercely, hitting Pikachu. Pikachu cried pitifully and fell out. Pikachu, are you okay? Zyos said worriedly. Pikachu shook his head, his eyes turned firm, and he stared at Bangira dangerously. Bangira, use sharp stone attack. Zahu said. Bangira's power surged, and sharp stones on the ground protruded and attacked Pikachu. Pikachu, use Iron Tail. Zyos said. Pikachu's springtail immediately shone, emitting a dazzling metallic luster, and then it spun and counterattacked the rocks one by one. With a few crisp sounds, it broke all the way, breaking 7 or 8 rocks and hitting Bangira. Bangira, bite it to pieces. Zahu said. Bangira opened its mouth suddenly and bit Pikachu's Iron Tail. Pikachu's attack was unsuccessful, and its tail was bitten instead. Its body fell down, and a panicked expression appeared on its little face. Destruction Death Ray. Zahu said. The destructive power in Bangira's mouth condensed and prepared to spray. Pikachu, whose tail was bitten, could not dodge it. Pikachu, use Thunder. Zyos said with an idea. In this posture, Pikachu could not avoid Bangira's attack, but Bangira could not avoid Pikachu's attack either. Pikachu's eyes lit up, and the electricity on his body gathered, bursting out a terrifying current, and intersected with the energy of the destructive death light. With a loud bang, Bangira and Pikachu were blown apart by the energy fluctuations. Pikachu successfully shook off Bangira and flew to the side, barely stabilizing himself. Bangira also took a step back, with a painful expression on his face, looking at Pikachu with an even more ferocious look. Following the previous trainer, the poacher Aaron, it was also invincible and had defeated all kinds of Pokémon. Pokémon like Pikachu had never been taken seriously before, but now this Pikachu was not much weaker than itself. Zahu smiled slightly, responding well. The performance in the first half was average, and it could only be said to be not bad. Except for the cold turtle, there was almost no highlight, but it was really good at the beginning of the second half. I also knocked Bangira, by the way. This guy didn't cause trouble for the teacher during the time he left and stayed at the Oak Research Institute. If it weren't for the pressure of Pokémon like Dragonite and Sylph, he would have almost gone to heaven. Bangira, use sharp stone attack. Zahu said. Bangira roared, and countless sharp stone pillars on the ground protruded and attacked Pikachu. Pikachu, lightning flash. Zyos fought back, not to be outdone, and threw himself into the battle. After traveling for almost 3 years, Zyos is now an experienced senior, and has encountered countless strong enemies. Among all people, the target he wants to surpass the most is Zahu. Only when he meets Zahu, his blood will burn to the highest temperature. Pikachu, Iron Tail, let me see our full strength attack. Zyos swung his fist fiercely. Pikachu. Pikachu jumped into the sky, and his petite body made a beautiful rotation, turning 360 degrees, and the Iron Tail fell like a sharp knife, slashing on Bangira's head, and he stood behind Bangira in a chic manner. Bangira fell to the ground with a bang. Pikachu held his 2 cute little hands together, with a proud face. I'm not going to act anymore. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 378, Weakness when encountering the weak. Pikachu, you're so awesome. In the audience, Eureka cheered and applauded Pikachu happily. Although Eureka and Zahu have a better relationship as trainers, in terms of Pokémon, the cute and sensible Pikachu is obviously more popular with Eureka than the vicious and violent Bangira. Especially during this period, Eureka and Pikachu got along, and the kind Pikachu showed maturity and obedience. Now seeing Pikachu's strength, it feels even more awesome. This is Pikachu's strength, Citron exclaimed. He is a gym trainer of the Electric Pokémon Gym, and can be said to be an authority on electric Pokémon. However, after putting himself in the shoes of the situation just now, he found that, no matter which Pokémon he had, it would be defeated by Bangira soon. It's a battle between Zyozzy and Pikachu. Imagine the passion. Once this trainer and Pokémon meet Zahu, they will burst into unexpected passion. When they meet a strong opponent, they will become stronger. Professor Oak said with a kind smile. So the next battle will be even more passionate. Xiaosheng said excitedly. That's right, but the only ones that Zahu captured in the Hone region that can be considered powerful are Steelix and Bangira. Now Steelix and Bangira have all lost their combat capabilities. Next, there are no other Pokémon that can be used. Should we send the old Pokémon now? Professor Oak looked at Zahu curiously. Zahu, who was being watched, threw a Pokéball calmly and said, "Mushroom, come out." A red light flashed, and the shy Mushroom appeared on the field. Professor Oak and his group were stunned. Although Mushroom was captured by Zahu relatively early, after he came to the Hone region, because he was an undercover agent, Zahu did not have much training, and his current strength is only a little better than that of an ordinary novice Pokémon. With this combat power, can he fight? Pikachu was confused. Isn't the little Mushroom in front of him the little brother who learned dancing with me before? Why is he fighting with me now? Pikachu, don't show mercy, even if he is someone you know. Zyozzy said. Pikachu nodded his head and patted his chest with his hands, indicating that he would not do it. Okay, 100,000 volts. Zyozzy said. Pikachu's electric current surged, and the strong electric current surged domineeringly. Mushroom, next. Zahu said. Mushroom's expression was calm, and he took the attack head on. The current surged, and a lot of it was directly led into the ground, but he didn't suffer much damage. Although Mushroom has not experienced many battles, the ability to resist electricity is innate. With some training, it can have a very strong ability to resist electricity. This alone is not enough, Zahu explained. Okay, next, Mushroom, paralysis powder. Zahu said. Mushroom, a large piece of powder emanated from the small hole on the top of Mushroom's head. Pikachu, blow away the powder. Zyozzy said. Pikachu suddenly puffed up his belly and blew out a big breath, blowing away the powder without being affected. It's such a simple battle. Master Zahu's Mushroom seems to be no match for Zyozzy's player Pikachu. Will this battle be one-sided? The commentator explained, and he was very confused about Zahu's performance. Pikachu, use Thunder to deal with Mushroom, Zyozzy said. Although he didn't understand why Zahu would send Mushroom, he would do his best to defeat whatever Pokémon Zahu sent. Pikachu nodded, and the current surged on his body, and he went straight to Mushroom. Dodge, and then parasitize the seeds, Zahu said. Mushroom immediately dodged flexibly, fully exerting the power of dance, dodging Pikachu's accurate thunder, and then a seed squeezed out of the small hole on the top of the Mushroom, hitting Pikachu's body. Suddenly, countless branches and leaves grew, entangled Pikachu, and absorbed his physical strength. No, Pikachu, break free quickly, Zyozzy said anxiously. It's useless, Mushroom, paralysis powder, Zahu said. Mushroom sprinkled a large amount of paralysis powder on the top of its head again, hitting Pikachu, and Pikachu's body suddenly became numb. Okay, the last blow, Mushroom spores, Zahu said. Mushroom's head once again released a large number of mushroom spores, one of which hit Pikachu. Pikachu felt like he saw stars, and then fell asleep, letting his strength drain away quickly. Pikachu, what's wrong with you? Wake up, Zyozzy shouted anxiously. It's useless. Mushroom spores have a hypnotic effect. Add paralysis powder and parasitic seeds, and Pikachu can't get up, Zahu said calmly. Oh my god, what a huge turn of events. Pikachu, who defeated Bangira, unexpectedly capsized in the gutter, and was defeated by Mushroom. Could it be that Pikachu has the ability to become stronger when facing a strong opponent, and also the ability to become weaker when facing a weak opponent? Master Zahu is worthy of being Master Zahu. With perfect evasion and special moves such as Parasitic Seeds, Paralysis Powder, and Mushroom Spores, he easily defeated Zyozzy. The commentator said. Zahu looked at the fallen Pikachu and smiled, just as he expected. Pikachu, as long as he is with Zyozzy, will get endless courage and faith from Zyozzy, and will become stronger when facing strong ones. No matter it is a quasi-god or a mythical beast, Pikachu is not afraid for Zyozzy. But at the same time, Pikachu is a kind and good child. When facing a weaker Pokémon, he will show mercy. Therefore, the strength he burst out with Banjara will disappear when fighting with Mushroom, and he will be weak when facing a weak one. It's a pity. If it were someone else, Zyozzy might really kill all the way, but he happened to meet himself, who knew Zyozzy and Pikachu well, so he was unlucky. Mushroom, thank you too. Zahu said to Mushroom. Mushroom thanked Zahu, and after saying that, a large piece of thick white light suddenly emerged from his body. When the light dissipated, a half-human Pokémon like a kangaroo appeared on the field. Parasaurus? You evolved, Zahu said in surprise. Defeating Pikachu really brings a lot of experience. Double Hat Parasaurolophus called out happily, ran to Zahu's side, and hugged Zahu affectionately. Okay, it's evolved. Next, we can fight perfectly. Zahu smiled while touching Parasaurolophus' head. The difference between the form of Parasaurolophus and Parasaurolophus before and after evolution was too big, so Zahu had never done too much training for Parasaurolophus, fearing that all training would be ineffective after evolution. Now that it has finally evolved completely, he can also carry out targeted training. Double Hat Parasaurolophus waved his fist, and his right fist flashed, showing the new skills he mastered after evolution. This is a Heaven Fist, Zahu said. Parasaurolophus nodded excitedly. Okay, next, you continue to fight, Zahu said. Double Hat Parasaurolophus nodded, looking at Zyozzy with a look full of fighting spirit. Because of the additional fighting attribute after evolution, Parasaurolophus' personality has also become more aggressive. Zyozzy showed a solemn expression. Pikachu failed unexpectedly, and he only had one Pokémon left, while his brother still had 4. In addition to Kabutops and Parasaurolophus, the remaining one might be Enter or Leave King. His already low chance of winning was even lower to the point of being almost impossible. Lucario, go ahead. Zyozzy took a deep breath and threw Lucario's Pokéball. Even if the chance of winning was slim, he had to fight with all his strength. Chapter 379 Trial. Lucario, use the power. Zyozzy gave the order first. Lucario had a grim face, like a silent warrior, and pushed out his hands, and strong shockwaves continued to hit the parasitic mushroom. Dodge, Zahu said. The parasitic mushroom moved its strong and powerful legs, and jumped flexibly to avoid Lucario's heavy power. Zahu's mouth curled up slightly. Parasitic mushroom is a Pokémon, based on the kangaroo. Its jumping ability is first class, and its short distance evasion is also first class. Then use the Sky Punch, Zahu said. Parasitic mushroom jumped out with its left foot and quickly stood firm with its right foot. It naturally jumped to the side of Lucario, as if it was going to attack, and punched Lucario in the chin, giving Lucario a hard blow. Lucario, don't lose, use the Power Punch, Zyozzy said. Lucario stepped firmly, and then punched back, hitting Parasitic Mushroom on the body, knocking Parasitic Mushroom back. Paraceus, adapt to your new body, organize a new rhythm, and use the strength of your legs to increase the power of your fists, Zahu said. After hearing this, Parasaurus immediately tried it out, using its strong legs to exert force, and then use the strength of its waist to punch, hitting Lucario hard, and knocking Lucario back. Lucario's face sank slightly, showing an uncomfortable expression. Parasaurus attributes are grass and fighting tricks will cause normal damage to it, while Lucario's attributes are steel and fighting tricks will cause double damage to it. You punch, I punch, and Lucario is at a disadvantage. Lucario, use your intuition, I believe in your judgment, we are not afraid of anyone's fighting challenge, Zyozzy said. He did not use the bond evolution at the first time, just to defeat Zahu's newly evolved Parasaurus in Lucario's state. He believed that his Lucario would not be inferior to Parasaurus, especially this kind of simple close combat, a passionate battle of real men. Lucario's eyes were calm. It was connected with Zaozubo. The two of them had similar thoughts. They did not reject such close combat, and even admired it. Parasaurolophus approached Lucario with a brisk pace. Its short arms suddenly stretched out, shortening the distance between the two Pokémons, and punched Lucario's head. It has a fast punching technique that even professional boxers would be ashamed of. This is the evaluation of Parasaurolophus's fighting ability in the Pokémon Illustrated book. But facing this punch, Lucario seemed to have predicted it, dodged it in advance, and then punched back at Parasaurolophus's head. Parasaurolophus has unimaginable fighting skills, and Lucario also has unimaginable sensing abilities. After special training, it can even use Wava guides to read fluctuations within 1 kilometer. In a short battle, this extremely terrifying induction is even more terrifying when fighting. Parasaurolophus, believe in yourself, and speed up your punching speed. This kind of induction is not omnipotent. As long as it is fast enough, you can definitely hit it. Zahu encouraged. Encouraged by Zahu, Parasaurolophus became excited and attacked faster. He fought with Lucario with all his strength. Sometimes he would rather take a punch from Lucario than punch Lucario head on. The two fighting Pokémon treated the conference venue as the P1 fighting competition. The commentator frowned, and finally put on a vest decisively, changing from a Pokémon duel commentator to a fighting competition commentator. He changed from explaining Pokémon moves and tricks to the audience, and analyzing trainer tactics to describing rough fighting situations. Lucario is agile, and has a quick attack, as dense as a storm, forcing Parasaurolophus into a dead end. Parasaurolophus is not to be outdone, and also throws a punch. Can it turn the tide? The audience around didn't mind at all. After all, watching a Pokémon competition is just for fun. Pokémon fighting competitions are exciting and exciting. That's enough. Why, Master and Zaozi are not in charge, and just let the Pokémon fight on instinct? Hiroya asked Professor Oak in the front row. Because the most important thing for Pokémon to fight is to have fun. Everyone has their own fighting style. Zaozi's fighting style is that winning or losing is secondary. Fighting with Pokémon and reaching the top together is the most important thing. He uses passion, backbone, ambition, and courage to make up for everything. In such a battle, he will not use other tactics to interfere. Professor Oak said. It's just brainless. Letting Pokémon fight like this is the best for him. Xiaomeo said. But why doesn't Master use it? Hiroya said. Because he is using Zaozi and Lucario to practice. Parasaurolophus has completed its evolution, and is no longer a pure grass attribute Pokémon, but a dual attribute of grass and grid. And with Zahu's temperament, he will turn to fighting as the main attribute, so the tactics used in the mushroom period, such as paralysis powder and parasitic seeds, must be abandoned. From an auxiliary to a frontal attack fighting boxer, in this case, Parasaurolophus must have a firm boxer's heart and the confidence and courage to defeat all enemies head on. Professor Oak explained. So, Master gave up the victory of this game. Hiroya said. That's right, in this game, he doesn't care about winning. The main purpose is to train Parasaurolophus. Professor Oak said. As Professor Oak's confident voice fell, the battle on the field finally came to an end. Lucario and Parasaurolophus punched at the same time and hit each other. With a sound, Parasaurolophus fell heavily to the ground and lost his fighting power. Parasaurolophus lost his fighting power. Lucario won. The referee said. Okay, Lucario, you win. Zaozi said. Lucario responded by shaking his fist. Thank you for your hard work, Parasaurolophus. Zahu took back Parasaurolophus, then looked at Zaozi and said, didn't I know this a long time ago? I was caught by you several times. Zaozi said with resentment. But I look forward to your new changes. The road of Pokémon trainers is long and endless. The champion of the Pokémon League regional conference is not the end, but just another starting point. I'm waiting for you to reach a high level and really challenge me, so that I can't defeat you, even if I use all my super evolutions. Zahu said. I will work hard and wait for the Champion League to start. I will try to challenge you and become a champion like you and Kona. Zyozzy said seriously. I look forward to your performance. Next, let's put a perfect end to this game. Articuno, come and end this game. Extreme Evolution, ice that freezes everything. Zahoo threw a Pokeball. Articuno spread its wings, and ice crystals fell from the sky. The cold air surged, as if it took everyone into an ice world. With the infusion of light, Zahoo and Articuno were in sync, as if they had become ice together. Articuno flapped its wings, and super evolved completely, as if an ice phoenix had descended, looking down on everyone. Looking around, Zahoo seemed to have become the king of ice and snow. Lucario, let everyone know our power and the tacit understanding of trust. Zyozzy's eyes were firm, and an invisible force surged in his body, merging with Lucario. The powerful wave power continued to spread, and Lucario evolved completely, and his eyes became more wild and fierce. If Zahoo represents ice, Zyozzy is the fire of youthful enthusiasm. Chapter 380 The Final End. Lucario, use the power again. Zyozzy shouted. Mega Lucario swung his fists and a sharp shock wave burst out. Although it was the same move as before, the power was incomparable. One shock wave after another shot out like a cannonball. Snowstorm, Zahoo said. Articuno's wings vibrated, and a cold current surged all over the sky. Large pieces of ice and snow fell, and the temperature around suddenly dropped, as if they had suddenly entered an ice cellar. Many of the audience tightened their bodies and shivered. The climate in the Hone region is warm and hot, which may be due to the creation of Groudon, so there are many volcanoes. Similarly, most people in the Hone region are not cold resistant. Articuno's ice wings vibrated, and the cold current dispersed the shockwave and covered Lucario directly. Lucario couldn't help but feel cold, and Zyozzy, who was in sync with it, couldn't help but shiver and shrink his body. Lucario, use the wave missile to break the ice. Zyozzy shouted, and together with Lucario, he put his hands together, condensed a blue wave energy bomb, and attacked Articuno. Zahoo closed his eyes and communicated with Articuno directly through his mind. A bright white metallic luster appeared on his right wing. He slapped the wave missile, and the wave missile slid on the wing, and then swung it violently, throwing the wave missile out and hitting Lucario. Lucario was hit and fell backwards, with many scars on his face. But Articuno would not give up such a good opportunity, just because Lucario was injured. Instead, it took advantage of the victory, and swooped down at a high speed. The shadow of the divine bird emerged, and hit Lucario violently, and then continued to attack with the power of ice. In an instant, ice and snow covered the entire venue, and it seemed as if it had entered a world of ice and snow, all white. Zyozzy and Lucario shared senses, sharing all the pain on Lucario's body. Zyozzy bit his back teeth tightly, refusing to relax. His eyes were still burning, not extinguished by the cold current, but burning more and more. After enduring countless attacks from Articuno, he suddenly jumped up and launched a violent attack, using his special skills in close combat. Zahoo frowned, but still did not open his eyes. Articuno turned around and used the divine bat to hit Lucario again, dealing double damage. Lucario felt pain, and the wildness in his body was dug out more vividly, falling into a violent state. Zyozzy roared and jumped up synchronously. Lucario was flashing with terrifying wave power all over his body and bombarded Articuno, but Articuno seemed to have predicted it and dodged it with a side spin, and then a steel wing hit Lucario hard, knocking Lucario to the ground. The two Pokémon that were in tune with their trainers fought back and forth in the arena with all their might. The terrifying energy waves were constantly released, and the whole arena was roaring. The commentator was confused again. There was nothing to explain just now, but now his mouth could not keep up with the battle between Articuno and Lucario. Before he finished talking about one trick, the next trick was already used. He was angry and yelled in his heart. Wasn't it an exhibition match? It was a performance for the audience, and I was asked to explain it. Now this Linoop is still a nonsense performance? It's completely the scale of the King of Kings Championship. In the VIP room on the second floor, the real King of Kings champion watched the game with relish. Mikali looked at the flying Articuno in the sky, showing an expression of surprise and admiration, and said, "How come the beautiful Iself, the best performance partner of the gorgeous competition, is in the hands of Zahu, the violent flow? Because you are ugly," Kona said. Huh. Mikali was stunned, looking at Kona in disbelief. In this day and age, someone dared to say that he, the superstar of the gorgeous competition, is ugly and weak. Kona stabbed the knife again. "This is what my Articuno said. If you don't agree, you can have a fight and let Articuno answer you." Mikali shrugged silently and decided not to continue talking to the strongest Ice King in the league. A good man doesn't fight with a woman. As a representative of home gentlemen with countless fans, it is not glorious to win or lose. Besides, he really can't beat Kona, who now has Articuno. Lucario's perfect combat power is finally seen, a stable and complete bond evolution. Ziba looked at Lucario's performance and smiled with relief. As an authority on Kanto fighting Pokémon and Zyos' teacher for a period of time, he was very satisfied to see Zyos' Lucario perform like this. "Kona, tell Zahu that I can let you take a vacation, but send Zyos here to be the fighting king of Kanto. Otherwise I will travel with you and be a light bulb to annoy you to death." Ziba looked at Kona and said, "Threaten me? Hiba, unless you marry a champion level wife and see if there are any beautiful sisters who like you will never threaten the two of us in this life." Kona shook his head. "You really can't fight two people at once. Are you too sure of my intention?" Hiba gritted his teeth. "Don't worry. Zahu can't continue his journey without resolving the issue of super evolution. I can't ask for leave for the time being, so don't worry. As for Zyos, when this is over, he will challenge the battle development zone in Kanto. During this time, he can do an internship and prepare for the next job as a champion. Now he has crossed the threshold of the champion, so he can make do with it for the time being." Kona seemed to feel a little sorry and comforted him. "That's fine." Hiba gave in. Looking at the bickering of the Kanto champions, the others smiled, but looking at the battle on the field, there was a hint of envy in their eyes. Except for Kiruno, Shumi, Watari, and Hiba, who have super evolution, all the other champions have not yet super evolved, including the other few kings in the Kalos region. Their main Pokémon have not yet evolved into a super form. If it weren't for this, they wouldn't have put down their work and rushed here. You know, everyone is very busy. Kano has to act, Sharona has to do archaeology, and Shumi has to open a restaurant. And just when a group of people were talking, everyone suddenly shuddered collectively, seeing that heavy snow suddenly fell from the sky and the ground was frozen. A strong icy light hit Lucario, and Lucario screamed, and directly exited the super evolution form, and fell to the ground. Zyos also sat on the ground, feeling weak all over. Articuno also disbanded the super evolution form, and returned to its original form, and the ice and snow around him stopped. Zahu put his hands in his pockets and slowly opened his eyes. His face was still indifferent, like an iceberg that had not melted for thousands of years. His eyes swept over Zyos on the ground, Zyomeo, Shinji, and Hiroya in the audience. The regional conference is just the starting point. I will wait for you at a higher level. Don't let me down. Zyomeo and Shinji's faces gradually became solemn. From the first trip, the target was him. Now I'm traveling all the way. My strength is constantly improving. I have met countless opponents, but I find that no matter how I go, my target is still him. I thought I became strong enough, but he became even stronger. In a corner of the conference venue, where no one paid attention, Ilan, who had been watching the game silently, felt what Zahu conveyed, and turned away. The evolution keystone and Charizard's mega evolution stone were handed over to the police, and now everything starts from scratch. Next year in the Sinnoh League, I will bring Charizard to meet you. Fladley's philosophy is wrong, but becoming stronger is not wrong. Make up for yesterday's update. Chapter 381. Half a year later. Zahu, come back and be the champion. We can negotiate all the conditions. I can halve the tax on your amusement park. Kanto, Pallet Town, Zahu Research Institute. Zahu, who had just finished his research on super evolution and was enjoying his retirement life in the back mountain, lazily listened to the phone and said, "President, what's the matter? Did Mikali go to Sinnoh to win the Mikali Cup again?" Don't mention that bastard to me. Compared with him, Dago is a good champion. President Doc Randler's roar came from the phone. Zahu smiled knowingly, as if he had already imagined that President Darkranly was furious on the other end of the phone. Then go to Alala and call Dago back. Now that we are studying super ancient evolution, we have to look for information in various ruins, which just satisfies that guy's desire to dig stones. It's a perfect way to kill two birds with one stone. Zahu said. Don't mention that guy to me. Now that the ruins of the God of Light have been discovered in Alala, he doesn't even answer the call from Duan Manufacturing Co Limited, let alone me. Even his father may not be able to call him back. President Doc Ranley said angrily. The remains of the great god of radiance, is he at the sun altar? That's perfect. Ask him to capture a few heart scales and send them back to you in the alliance. Heart Scale's final evolution, Scaled Armored Dragon, is a Pokémon with the same potential as the Violent Salamander and Metagross. If it is well cultivated, then Hone will be the only alliance in the entire alliance with 3 quasi-gods, and I, the former champion, will feel honored. Zahu said with a smile. Scaled Armored Dragon? That's the dominant Pokémon of the Sun Altar. Does it have that strength? President Doc Ranley asked in surprise. Believe me, I swear on the solemn honor of the Pokémon Doctor. Zahu said. Okay, I'll ask that guy Dago to teleport a few over. Also, the Shenao Lily of the Valley conference is about to begin. You're going on a trip, right? If you meet Mikali, remember to beat him up for me. President Doc Ranley said. That's no problem. Zahu said. That's it for now. After President Doc Ranley finished speaking, he hurriedly hung up the phone. Zahu put his phone aside and lay on a chair in the sun with a comfortable look on his face. There were 2 beauties lying beside him, although one of them was his mother. Are you leaving again? Hanako looked at Zahu and said. Yes, I haven't conquered Sinnoh yet. My goal is to travel around the world before I turn 20. Zahu smiled. Okay, but when are you and Kona going to get married? Hanako said. Mom, you are not going to urge me to get married, are you? If you want to urge me to get married, you should also urge Xiaozi. He has been traveling for so long, and he doesn't even have a girlfriend. Zahu said with a look of horror. Xiaozi is different from you. It's impossible for him to take the initiative to chase girls. Xiaozi doesn't have any special skills. It's unlikely for girls to take the initiative to chase him. Hanako shook her head. Mom, what you said, I have to say something for Xiaozi. You really underestimated him. Zahu said. Xiaozi is single for 10,000 years, but his harem is really all over the world. I called yesterday to inform you that Xiaozi will be back soon. Do you want to travel with him? Hanako said. Take him to Dr. Yamashita report and let him get familiar with the environment. From now on, it's up to him. Zahu said. Okay, wait a minute, I'll clean up for you all. Hanako said. There's no rush. Let him rest at home for a while. He runs around all day. People who don't know would think he has no home. Zahu said unhappily. Xiaozi was better in the first part. He knew to stay at home for a while, but later, he basically stayed at home for a day or 2, and then went on a trip immediately. Hanako smiled with relief. Although she hoped that her child could leave her arms, be independent, and grow up as a parent who doesn't want their children to spend more time with them. Just looking at Zahu, Hanako couldn't help but fall into deep thought. Others have ruined their trumpets, so they practice the trumpet again. But my trumpet is perfect, but my trumpet is ruined. What's the situation? How to remedy it? Shaking her head, she couldn't figure it out. Hanako got up and walked back to the house to prepare things first. But, do you really want to go to Sinnoh to beat up Mikali? But you tricked him into becoming the champion. Kona said. Don't talk nonsense. How can you say I tricked him? I just had a friendly negotiation with him. Either he comes to participate in the King Challenge and tries his best to win the championship, or I will promote the gorgeous competition in Kanto, Johto, and the Orange Islands, and then use rogue methods in the Hone region to crush them one by one and destroy the gorgeous beauty. Zahu said. Isn't this tricked you? Kona said. Is there a difference? When he was the king, he still went to Sinnoh all day long. Now that he is the champion, he still goes there. In fact, it has no impact on his life. And before he left, I gathered the 4 heavenly kings for him. Zahu said. Dragon type Tenno Genji is still wandering on the sea. Evil type Tenno Kagetsu is a bad representative who flirts with girls all day long. Ghost Tenno Furin has a weird personality, and Ice type Tenno Bonnie has a lonely personality. Each one is more special than the other. When you were researching in the Hone region, President Doc Ranley talked about you a lot. Kona said. Tenno champions have always been so weird. Anyway, I have gathered them all for him. These Tenno are top notch. Kazuki and Aju may not be their opponents. Zahu said. Forget it, let's not talk about them. You have been researching in Hone for almost half a year, and I have been in the Orange Islands for almost half a year. It's time to find a chance to go out and have a look. Arceus, the legendary Pokémon in the Sinnoh region, is the god of creation. I don't know if I will have the chance to meet him. Kona said. There will be a chance, but it doesn't matter whether we meet or not. After all, we can't subdue him. Zahu said. So what Pokémon are you going to bring this time? Kona said. Entei must be brought. Fairy Pokémon, Togekiss, and Ninetales haven't been out for a long time, so bring them all, plus Banjira, Steelix, Iron Dumbbell, Storm Salamander, and Parasaurolophus for exercise, and finally Dragonite, Lugia, and Articuno for personal safety. Zahu said. With all these together, 9 is not enough. Kona said. Don't panic. After becoming the champion, there is no limit to the number of Pokémon I can bring. As for taking care of them, just exploit Kajiro and Meowth. Kajiro's family has a lot of businesses in Sinnoh, and you can take advantage of them when you go there. Zahu said. They are now promoting the new Kohu amusement park in Johto. Are you sure they will leave? Kona said. Do I need their consent to exploit them? Zahu asked back. Well, no. Kona smiled, lay on the chair, closed his eyes comfortably, and seemed to be thinking about his future travel life. Or, when we come back from the Sinnoh trip, let's get married. Zahu's voice sounded out of nowhere. Kona's eyes relaxed, and he chuckled and replied okay. Zahu's mouth curled up. This kind of life is really good. The story of Hone ends here. I also reflect on myself. The story of Hone is a bit exaggerated. Because it is just about fighting in the gym, it is a bit boring, and in the next plot, the protagonist needs some manpower, so I wrote that he joined the water fleet as an undercover. However, this plot is a bit entangled, and I don't know how many times I have changed it. I originally planned to go in as a team leader, but later I felt it was not appropriate, and I scrapped 2 chapters, and changed it to a scientist entering. After all the changes, it was not so good. I should have just traveled and intervened in the dispute as an outsider. But I have finished writing it, and cannot change it. Let's end it like this. Next, Macaulay will not be pit for the time being, so I will go there first, and start a new chapter. Play with my brother, tease my sister, show affection, pretend to be cool, and have a vacation. Chapter 382 Sea Voyage. As the sun sets, the golden light shines on the sea, reflecting a sense of tranquility and peace. Zahu leaned against the side of the boat, enjoying the sea breeze, with a look of enjoyment on his face. With a similar mood to the last time, he embarked on a journey to a new continent. But his companions were different. When researching the eternal super evolution, Genji finally remembered this son who had been forgotten for a long time, and took the reluctant Hiroya back. But before parting, Zahu had a good talk with Genji, and won the right for Hiroya to participate in the grand contest. Now he is moving towards the goal of winning the grand celebration of the Hone Grand Contest. As a parting gift, Zahu gave the Super Evolution Stone and Evolution Keystone of the Violent Salamander. Now he is also in high spirits. Kajiro and Meowth remain unchanged, not to mention Kona. In addition, there are Xiaozi, Xiaomeo, Shinji, Xiaoxia, Xiaogang and a bunch of others. Shinji, look at it more positively. Don't be so dejected. Sinnoh is your home. Zahu looked at Shinji and said, my brother didn't solve Mr. Kamishiro's problem, so he almost wanted to give up being a trainer. I thought I would do better than my brother, solve Mr. Kamishiro's problem, and dominate the battle frontier. But I can't get past this level myself. Shinji said with a heavy expression. Mr. Kamishiro has the strength of a king, and he has 3 pillars in his hands. Even if he is bound by the rules of the battle frontier, it is not an easy peak to cross. But you and Xiaomeo want to challenge Kamishiro's main pet and challenge all 3 pillars. It's normal to lose. Go to Sinnoh to continue training and growing. Zahu said. Kamishiro, as the last overlord of the battle frontier and the brain of the frontier, doesn't really care about winning or losing. He wants to stimulate the potential of his opponent and fight him with a unique style. So no matter how many points the score is, he will only send out 1 pillar. Just like in the animation, when he was 4-4 with Xiaozi, he only used 1 ice pillar, Regius. Originally, the normal trajectory would have developed like this. But who made Zahu, this outlier, appear and create a butterfly effect? Relying on hard power, he crushed the entire battle frontier. When Xiaozi challenged him, he was almost abused and cried. 1 step, 1 tear. When Shende knew that Xiaozi was Zahu's younger brother, he remembered the agreement with Zahu, that one would gather the 3 pillars and the other would gather the 3 birds, and then fight the beasts. He was well informed, and knew that Zahu was busy and couldn't come, so he just made do with Xiaozi, and had a full strength 3-on-3 battle. Xiaozi didn't care the first time, and used the usual anew, but added Lucario at the end, but the 3 didn't replace one of the opponent. Being abused to the ground and crying, Lucario also rarely felt the taste of failure. The second time, Xiaozi calculated carefully, and called Charizard from a distance, thinking that Charizard would fight the Steel Pillar, Suicune would fight the Rock Pillar, and Lucario would fight the Ice Pillar. As a result, 3-4-2, Lucario lost to the Ice Pillar Regius. The third time, Xiaozi took his Pokémon to camp in the wild for 3 days. No one knew what happened during that time, but when he came back, he gambled everything, and fought 6-6. Squirtle, Bulbasaur, Charizard, Pikachu, Suicune, and Lucario all went to fight against the 6 of God's Age Dark Demon, Iron Ninja, Solar Rock, and the 3 God Pillars. Although Xiaozi was stupid at the beginning, and used Earth to throw, he used a fighting type trick against the Ghost type Dark Demon, which resulted in Charizard's humiliating defeat. Fortunately, Squirtle and Bulbasaur finally lived up to their status as veterans, and fought hard to get rid of the 3 of them, namely, Dark Demon, Iron Ninja, and Solar Rock. Pikachu, Suicune, and Lucario got a chance to fight fairly. In the end, Suicune, Lucario, and God of Steel and God of Rock from God's Age exchanged places. Pikachu carried the efforts of Xiaozi and countless companions, and showed the level of being a god. With a single move of Volt attack, he killed the Ice Pillar Regius in seconds. Only then Xiaozi barely dominated the battle frontier. But after seeing this battle, Xiaomeo and Shinji refused to give up, and wanted to defeat the full-strength Kamishiro. The result is predictable. Although Xiaomeo and Shinji have greatly improved their strength compared to the past, the result of a full-strength battle with Kamishiro is predictable. Even with all their strength, they only defeated the weakest of the 3 pillars, the Ice Pillar Regius. Both were defeated by 5-6. Yes, Sinnoh. It was supposed to be the first place I challenged, but now it has become the last one. Shinji sighed, looked at Zahu seriously and said, Brother Zahu, since we let Electabuzz compete with Lucario once in Johto, we haven't competed for more than a year. This time, I will do my best to compete with you in the finals of the SYNOPSIS League Lily of the Valley tournament. Okay, I look forward to it, but you must not limit your competitors to each other and me. This Lily of the Valley tournament may be more challenging than you think. It is very likely that some of you will be eliminated before you meet each other, Zahu said. Others don't know, but he knows clearly that during the SYNOPSIS League Lily of the Valley tournament, an evil divine beast man will appear. Although in the animation, he only sent out 2 divine beasts in total, 1 Darkrai and 1 Latias. No one knows what the remaining 4 are. It may be 4 Magikarp, but the strength of that guy is really strong. In the whole game, except for the match with Xiaozi, he only used 1 Darkrai to crush and slaughter all opponents. If the remaining 4 were not such a funny teammate as Magikarp, that guy would probably be a ruthless character of the king level. When Xiaozi and the other 2 met him, the probability of capsizing was definitely higher than the probability of winning. The stronger the opponent, the better. Before challenging me, you have to go through different opponents and get promoted, so that you can challenge the strongest brother, Xiaozi said excitedly. There are people beyond people, and there are heavens beyond heavens. Don't say I'm the strongest. Zahu smiled. No, brother, when you were still the champion, Master Zima said you were the strongest champion. Zyozzy said with admiration. There is no strongest, only stronger. Zahu took the opportunity to educate Zyozzy and others and convey the correct three views. Although in fact, Zahu himself also thought so. Dragonite, Lugia, Articuno, King of Leave, Gyarados, and Super Evolved Latios. At present, no champion in each region can match him. But saying such things is easy to get beaten. Just say that you are a powerful trainer. Be low-key. By the way, Zyloksha, I'm bored on the road, so I will participate in the gorgeous competition, so you may see me in the competition. Zahu said. Huh? Brother Zahu, you are going to participate in the gorgeous competition? Zyloksha said. Yes, Fairy, Ninetales and Togekiss watch the gorgeous competition on TV and they all like it very much, so I plan to let them play. It would be good if I can win the championship of the gorgeous competition. By the way, the key is that you three brothers are not fun, so I decided to take time to have a good time with Zyloksha, my sister. Zahu said. Zyozzy, Zyomeo, and Shinji all look dark. We are not here for you to have fun. Zyloksha's face was slightly bitter and said, Brother Zahu, I'm not fun either, so don't look for me. Although Zyozzy and the other two have been close to each other for the past 6 months, they have obtained the Mega Evolution Stone of Charizard X, the Mega Evolution Stone of Gyarados, and the Mega Evolution Stone of Steelix from Zahu respectively, and their strength has grown significantly. But fighting with Zahu, Zyloksha said she didn't want to be beaten 6-1. So panicked. Don't worry, the grand contest is mainly because Ninetales wants to play, so I will control myself. Besides, Gyarados will super evolve. Within 5 minutes, the three of us may not be able to crush them by violence, so maybe you can win. Zahu said. Yeah, then I have a chance too. I want to participate in the grand contest too. Zyozzy said excitedly. Yeah, work hard, and then, let's head to Dr. Yamanish's research institute in Masaga Town. Lisi is waiting for us there. Zahu said. Chapter 383 Zyogwang. Okay, now we are at Masaga Town in the Sinnoh region. Come with me to meet Professor Yamanishi first, and complete the registration, to challenge the Pokémon League, and then we will set off, and start our own journeys. Zahu said to the few people. No problem. Zyozzy and everyone said in unison, and followed Zahu to the Yamanishi Research Institute together with Lacey who came to pick them up. Although Zahu has only been to the Sinnoh region a few times, he has been to the Sinnoh Research Institute these times, so Zahu is very familiar with the road. After walking for a while, he entered the Yamanishi Research Institute, but the scene in front of him scared Zahu. The whole research institute was in a mess, the surrounding furnishings were in a mess, and all kinds of documents were scattered on the ground. Has your research institute been robbed, or has a thief come in? Zahu looked at a research assistant and joked. This was not his first time here, so it was completely appropriate to joke. That's not the case. Just now, Pokémon and Blaziken had a quarrel. The two Pokémon started fighting in the hall, and then affected the two Pokémon of the evolution group that needed to be studied, Muk and Mukhawk. In the end, Mukhawk used Fierce Blast. Then, the research assistant explained with an embarrassed look on his face. Then, Blaziken, Pokémon, Muk, and Mukhawk all flew out, and messed up the research institute. Did the doctor know about it? If not, make up for it quickly, otherwise Dr. Yamanishi will punish you, and I can't help you. Zahu took over the topic. Although Dr. Yamanishi is cold on the outside but warm on the inside, his strict attitude towards work is really no joke. The doctor already knows, and he went out with a new trainer, who just came to pick him up, to find Blaziken and the others. Let us stay to take care of Squirtle. The assistant smiled awkwardly. Squirtle? Zahu looked down, and saw a Squirtle on the table on the side, with his head down, eating the Pokémon food in front of him with a silly look on his face, as if he didn't care about anything in the outside world. Well, a turtle and a grass type, neither Buddhist nor scientific. Forget it, in this case, let's not be idle, and help the research institute to find it together. Zahu said with a smile. Okay. When it comes to helping others, Zyozzy and his group have always been very generous. Even Shinji, who seems the most indifferent, will not be the least bit reluctant to help the Pokémon doctor to find Pokémon. A group of people took action separately, looking for Pokémon and Professor Yamanashi in the back mountain of the research institute. Zehu and Kona were searching together, and suddenly heard an anxious girl's cry for help. They hurriedly followed the sound, and saw a group of Validus besieging a girl and a Pokémon. A group of Validus were lying on the net, staring at them, and the girl and Pokémon were trembling. Fairy elves use magic flash to drive away Validus and others. Zehu released the fairy elves and said. The fairy elf stood gracefully in the sun, its tentacles like ribbons dancing in the wind, flashing with charming luster, suddenly shooting out, breaking through the spider web of Validus, and blasting all the Validus into the sky. Thank you for your hard work, fairy elf. Zehu praised, then walked to the girl and Pokémon and said, are you okay? No. Thank you. The girl said with gratitude, I'm Zyadaguang from Futaba Town, a Pokémon trainer who just got ready to set off today. I'm Zehu, and she is Kona. Zehu smiled and looked at the girl in front of him. Zyadaguang, the heroine of SYNOPSIS, is also the first heroine in the Pokémon animation in the strict sense. She is on par with Zyozzy's male protagonist. Both of them are protagonists, instead of being Zyozzy's companions like Zyuxia and Zyuao before, with a slightly lower status. Zyadaguang? She must be Kaze's daughter. Kona suddenly said. You know my mother? Zyadaguang said with surprise. Yes, we have competed before, but she is a coordinator trainer, not on the same level as me, so there is no Dobby. When we traveled to Sinnoh this time, she asked me to take care of you. Kona laughed. Mom, you said that? Really? Zyadaguang said shyly. You are traveling alone now, without a companion, right? So how about you travel with Zehu's brother Zyozzy and others, and become companions? Although Zyozzy is a little confused, Zyadaguang will not get lost, and he can cook. Kona said. Can cook? Zyadaguang's eyes lit up immediately. She thought about this question seriously before going out. How will she eat when she travels alone in the future? Now someone can cook. Yes, and he is also an excellent Pokémon breeder who can take care of your Pokémon. In addition, there is Zyuxia, who is aiming for the Grand Contest. Last time, you were in the top 4 in the Hone Grand Festival. You should be interested in the Grand Contest like your mother, so traveling together can promote each other. Kona said. It's great to have a breeder and a coordinator with us. Zyadaguang said excitedly, but suddenly realized, in that case, who is that Zyozzy? The champion of the last Hone League Sayao tournament, and now he is aiming for the Sinnoh League. Kona said. Thank you, Miss Kona, I want to join. Zyadaguang said excitedly. An excellent breeder, a top 4 of a grand festival, and a champion of a regional league tournament. What kind of teammates are these? For a rookie trainer, it's great. Okay, let's go back and tell them that Zyozzy and the others will definitely not mind having one more companion. Kona smiled. Yeah. Zyadaguang nodded his head frantically. Zehu smiled slightly and didn't stop him. Zyozzy and the others really wouldn't mind having one more Zyadaguang. In their words, the more companions you have when traveling, the more fun it is. Although Zyadaguang and Pagona were found, they didn't leave immediately. They continued to look for the missing Zyuoyan, Nook, and Mook. When they walked to a lake, a white mist suddenly shrouded the water surface. An illusory Pokémon suddenly appeared, stared at Zyadaguang for a while, and suddenly disappeared. Zyadaguang was stunned, and looked at Zehu and Kona curiously and said, Mr. Zehu, Miss Kona, what was that just now? A Pokémon? Kona also looked at Zehu curiously. The god of emotion, Imrido. Zehu said. Imrido, is this also the name of a Pokémon? Zyadaguang asked curiously. Yes, and it is a legendary Pokémon. It is only possible to encounter it by chance here in Zinky Lake, but it has always been a legend. No one has seen it with their own eyes. Only people with destiny can see it. Today is Zyadaguang's first day as a trainer, and it just happened to appear. It should be blessing you. Zehu said. Are you blessing me? Zyadaguang's expression was a little silly, and then he waved vigorously towards Zinky Lake and said, Thank you, Imrido, no problem. Chapter 384 A New Beginning. 3 new Pokémon have arrived. Xiaoguang, which one do you want to choose? Professor Yamanashi introduced Xiaoguang. The three Pokemon, and Squirtle also had slightly different reactions when they saw Xiaoguang. Although the three Pokemon have been in the research institute for a long time and want to go on a trip with their trainers, their reactions are different. Squirtle is doing all kinds of funny things and is very active, fully demonstrating the momentum of fire Pokemon and the vitality of monkey Pokemon. Pokemon pats his chest with his little hands, acting like a big brother. The last Squirtle. If Squirtle and Pokemon feel Xiaoguang's presence and make different movements, then Squirtle seems to have not seen Xiaoguang. He is really calm and lowered his head. I really don't know if he is slow to feel or doesn't care. However, he also fully demonstrates the gentle personality of grass Pokemon and the mild personality of turtle Pokemon. I thought about it a long time ago. I have experienced a lot with it. Pokemon, it's you. Xiaoguang quickly said his answer. Pokemon still looked proud, with an expression that it would be like this as expected. The little flaming monkey was petrified instantly, and the world lost its color. Is it because I'm not good looking enough? The grass seedling turtle had a blank expression. Wasn't it selected? Oh, then it was not selected, and continued to eat. Pokemon, it's a very good choice. Zahu nodded, looking at Xiaoguang's Pokemon, showing an admiring expression. Although this Pokemon did not evolve until the end of the animation, its strength was very good, and its personality is almost exactly the same as Xiaoguang's. It is really a Pokemon that is more suitable for Xiaoguang. In addition, the relationship between it and Pikachu is also the deepest and best among all the female Pokemons in history, except for Pocopi. At the last farewell, it was the little fist that kept punching Pikachu's chest, and tears flowed like a spring. It was so touching. Fortunately, Pokemon is also a male, otherwise Zahu would have thought that Pokemon also fell in love with Pikachu. This is the Pokemon illustrated book and the Pokeball. I wish you a good trip. Dr. Yamanashi gave all the props that he was going to give to the new trainer to Xiaoguang. Xiaoguang also made solemn promises. Xiaozi comforted the unsuccessful flame at this time. If he, a reckless guy, was given the choice, he would definitely choose the most naughty flame. It was just a pity that he was no longer a rookie trainer and could not take it anymore. He just sighed secretly. Xiaozi, do you like flame very much? Lacey said. Yeah. Xiaozi nodded honestly. Well, I'll give you a flame. Promise me to take good care of it. Lacey took a Pokeball from his waist and released a flame. However, this flame was not as active as the one in the research institute and was even a little shy. Flame, I have chosen the best new owner for you. Next, he will take care of you, train you, and protect you for me. Lacey said to the flame, and then looked at Xiaozi. Xiaozi looked at the little flaming monkey sincerely and said, Little flaming monkey, I'm Xiaozi. I want to be your trainer. Is that okay? As if sensing Xiaozi's sincerity, the little flaming monkey timidly handed his hand to Xiaozi. Xiaozi smiled and held it, with a happy smile on his face. He said to Pikachu, Pikachu, this is the first companion we met in the Sinnoh region. Pikachu showed a sincere smile on his cute little face, playing happily with the little flaming monkey. The little flaming monkey was quickly driven by Pikachu's enthusiasm, and played happily with Pikachu. Lishi, thank you. Zahu said, a little flaming monkey is not cheap. Compared with your care for Shinji, this is nothing. Besides, didn't you also give Shinji a little flaming monkey in Charizard Valley? It's a reciprocity. What's the big deal for me to give a little flaming monkey? Lisi said. The little flaming monkey was captured by Shinji's initiative. I just gave him this opportunity. There is no need to take care of it. Zahu said. That's the same for me. Lacey smiled. He really liked Xiaozi. He liked Xiaozi's trust and love for Pokémon. Okay, by the way, where did this little flame come from? Zahu asked curiously. The 3 starter Pokémon are usually raised and cultivated by the Alliance. They are rare in the wild. It was in the woods near Vale City. When I came out, I saw a group of mongoose bullying it, so I rescued the child. I was going to give it to Shinji, but now it feels better to give it to Xiaozi. Lacey said. Besieged by mongoose near Vale City? Zahu's eyes suddenly lit up. That's right, this little cutie in front of him is the most lovable big brother in the animation. Originally thought that because of himself, this little flame would have nothing to do with him. Even if it was captured by his own people, it would be Shinji, not Zyolzi. But he didn't expect that in the end it would become Zyolz, his partner under the magical fate. Is everything destined? Zahu squatted down, touched the little flame monkey's head, and smiled gently, saying, "You will have a very good and happy life in the future. A trainer who loves you, trains with you, takes risks together, and becomes stronger with you." As if feeling the warmth radiating from Zahu, the little flame monkey smiled more cheerfully. "Zyolzi, take good care of the little flame monkey," Zahu said. "Yes, I will." Zyolzi nodded seriously. Of course, he would take good care of his own Pokémon. Zahu looked at the little flame monkey, who began to show a happy expression, and a relieved smile appeared on his face. In the Sinnoh animation, the most pitiful and tear-jerking little flame monkey is well deserved. First, in the wild, he was bullied by a group of gangster Pokémon slashers and almost fell off a cliff. He defeated all the slashers with his own powerful fire. As a result, that power was seen by Shinji, who lacked social beatings at the time. Then Shinji subdued it, and thus began the tragic career of the little flame monkey. Shinji, who is harsh and ruthless, doesn't care about the bond between him and his Pokémon. He trains them cruelly to improve their strength. Especially for Flame's most powerful Fierce Flame, which can only be released when the Pokémon is at the bottom of its health, so he squeezes them to death. Others train well, but Shinji trains by either throwing rocks down to prevent Flame from escaping, or by attacking Flame with 4 or 5 Pokémon to improve its strength. It's worse than abuse. Moreover, if you win a Pokémon duel, but don't have the Fierce Flame characteristic, it's not worth being happy about. As for losing, it's even worse. You severely condemn the useless guy, and don't take the initiative to take him to the Pokémon Center when he's injured. In the end, he was abandoned by Shinji, and picked up by Zyolzi. On the first day together, Flame was so moved that he almost cried. Whenever he saw that, Zahu had the urge to rush into the TV and pull Shinji out to beat him up. Zahu recalled everything, and a hint of murderous intent subconsciously flashed in his eyes. He glanced at Shinji on the side and said, "Next time we play against him, why don't we abuse him?" Shinji felt a sudden chill in his body, and looked at Zahu with a suspicious look on his face. Was it Brother Zahu who was glaring at me just now? I haven't offended Brother Zahu recently. Make up for the day before yesterday, and it's done perfectly. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 385, Kajiro's Another Mana. Okay, let's go. We'll meet again at the final league meeting. Don't let any of you give me any accidents, Zahu said to Zyolzi and the others. Of course. Brother Zahu, I will definitely become stronger the next time we meet. By then, maybe I can also capture a legendary beast and defeat you, Zyomeo said. There are many legendary beasts in Sinnoh, including Darkrai, the god of nightmares, Cresselia, the fire-starting Sildren, and Shemi in 2 states. You can try to capture all of them. If you succeed, it's not bad, Zahu said. I'll try my best, Zyomeo said passionately. Well, try your best, Zahu encouraged generously, but in his heart he said that it was good to meet the above Pokémon. It would be very difficult to capture them. More importantly, these Pokémon are at the same level as Latias, and cannot be super evolved. Except for a few, most of them are probably not as strong as a super evolved Blastoise even if they are captured. If you really want to defeat me, you have to subdue Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina. The first few are just difficult, but these 3 are impossible. Okay, Zyuxia, Zyuguang, the latest gorgeous competition is in Zuking City. You should prepare well, especially Zyuguang, because that is your debut competition. Zahu smiled. I will, thank you Mr. Zahu, Zyuguang said. In that case, let's go. Zahu smiled and took Kona and Kajiromi off to the distance. Passing through a forest, Zahu and others glimpsed a luxurious manor from afar. Meowth looked disgusted. Another evil rich man. Boss, when we go back, let's build such a large luxurious manor. We have money now. What's the point of having money? The little money from the company's project is now used to build a new amusement park in Johto. Where can we get extra money to build it for you? Besides, a place as big as the research institute is not enough for you to live in. Zahu said. No, I want to live in a doghouse like Kajiro's Growlithe. Meow Meow said. Don't act cute with me, it's useless, you're not cute, Zahu said. Meow, a cute cry sounded, and a pink and cute little figure came out of Kona's Pokeball, which made Kona's girlish heart flutter, and she hugged it with a doting look. Look, this is cute, Zahu said. The Phantom Mew, after Zahu's research for a period of time, successfully broke away from the Phantom system and became a real-life Pokémon, Mew. Because it was cute enough, and because Zahu was not prepared, it was finally tricked by Kona and raised as a pet. It really is a Pokémon, living by being cute. Meow. Meow Meow was angry, but looking at Kona, it was still timid and didn't dare to attack. It dared to confront Zahu because it knew that Zahu would not do anything to it. But Kona couldn't do that. Although Kona would not do anything to it, if it provoked Kona, Zahu would teach it to be a cat in a minute. Okay, let's go. We will have the damn rich life in the future, Zahu said. Wait, boss, we can live this kind of life now. This seems to be my family's manor. Zyajiro suddenly said. Huh, yours again? Zahu said in surprise. Yes, this logo is unique to me. Zyajiro pointed to the pattern on the door lock. Did you draw this pattern? Zahu looked at the sand sculpture pattern on the door lock with a strange expression. A silly rich second generation and a weird plant Pokémon. A strong sand sculpture style came to his face. Yes, my art is very accomplished, right? Zyajiro said with a proud face. Achievements? Zahu's mouth twitched. Forgive his poor eyesight, he really couldn't tell where the accomplishments came from. He was too lazy to talk to Zyajiro about this issue, so he had to change the subject and said, the Pokémon next to you is a Fancage, right? Where is it now? Yes, Fancage, it's here. Zyajiro said excitedly, opened the lock with his bare hands, and rushed into the manor. Zahu shrugged and followed him in. He visited the luxurious manors along the way, and couldn't help but sigh. Kajiro's family is really rich. They have so many villas in Kanto. I just came across one in Sinop. Because the Sasaki family's industries are mainly concentrated in Kanto and Sinop. In terms of exporting to Sinop, their family is really top notch. Kona said. It's just that there is a serious problem with the successor. Zahu said. Kajiro is also very good. Isn't he the main operator of your amusement park? It's just that it's more troublesome not to inherit the family business. Kona said. Finally found it, my treasure. Kajiro, who was walking in the front, suddenly shouted excitedly. Treasure, meow. Meow Meow's eyes immediately burst into dazzling green light, and without saying a word, he turned into a gust of wind and rushed in. Treasure? Don't you want to go in and take a look? Kona said. What can Kajiro's treasure be? Isn't it just his collection of bottle caps? Zahu said unhappily. Kajiro's hobby since he was a child has never changed. Slowly walking in, Zahu and Kona saw a box of bottle caps, but Kajiro's situation was not very good. A Fancage bit his head hard, and he looked like a Venus flytrap. Boss, help me take down the Fancage. Kajiro asked for help. Your Pokémon, you can't control it yourself? Just take it back. Zahu rolled his eyes and said. Yes. Come back, Fancage. Kajiro took out the Pokeball and quickly took back the Fancage. What is the relationship between that Fancage and you, Kajiro? Kona asked curiously. Oh, this is a Pokémon partner I captured in Sinop, but it has been here for a long time. Kajiro said. It has been at least 10 years since you ran away from home. 10 years later, it can still remember you. It must be true love. Zahu said. That's right, my Pokémon, it must love me. Kajiro said proudly. You are just bullying the innocence of Pokémon. Zahu said unhappily. If it were a human, he would have left them alone for 10 years and even the best of friends would have broken up. No, I really like them, and they really like me too. Kajiro said. Yes, they like you, and will bite your head off the moment they see you. This time when you came to Sinop, you brought Chime, Monini, Groliv, Pidgeot, and Desert Nymph with you. Now, Fanged Cage will bite your head off the moment they meet, and Desert Nymph will stab you the moment it comes out. The two Pokémon will fight over you, and I'll see what you'll do then, Zahu said. Oh, I'm so good, what if I get beaten? Kajiro pondered for a moment, then quickly said calmly, don't panic, the boss is here, you can protect me if something happens. Sometimes, I don't understand, am I your boss, or are you my employer? Zahu shook his head and said, if you really want me to help you, from now on, you should train your Pokémon well. It's been a long time since I captured Pidgeot, but it hasn't evolved into Pidgeot yet. There is an aerial ring competition in Sinop. I was planning to let you participate, but now I think about it, your Pidgeot has no future. There is an aerial ring competition in Sinop. Kajiro was excited. I want to participate. Then show your ability, Zahu said with a smile. Kajiro's hobby ranking, the first is collecting bottle caps, and the second is the aerial ring competition. Using this to stimulate Kajiro, it works. No problem, I will be infinitely serious. Kajiro said. Yeah, I'm hungry now, you know. Zahu said. No problem. Zyajiro agreed generously, fully showing the domineering spirit of the rich second generation. He walked to the side and communicated. Zyajiro, I'm ordering food now. Give me the most luxurious banquet. Yes, Master Zyajiro, no problem. I'll deliver it right away. A voice came from the communicator. Boss, eat with confidence. I'll pay for today's consumption. Chapter 386 Daigo's communication. After enjoying the sumptuous food made by Kajiro's family, Meow Meow contentedly lay on the sofa of Kajiro's house and burped comfortably. He lazily revealed his flat belly, returning to his cat nature. Zahu also leaned comfortably on the sofa, touching Meow Meow's belly with his right hand. It felt really good to tease a cat. No wonder so many people in the previous life rushed to become shit shovelers. Enjoy life leisurely. A video call suddenly came in. Zahu looked at the name displayed, and his expression was stunned. Daigo, this thief, actually took the initiative to contact him. Is it unscientific? However, Zahu had a clear conscience and directly clicked on the video call. Hello, Zahu, Kona, long time no see. Daigo appeared on the projection in work clothes. It's been a long time, a year and a half, and you finally contacted me. You don't have to go through President Zifachi to come to me secretly to ask about the information of Mega Evolved Metagross, Zahu said to Daigo while crossing his legs. The information my dad asked about is not all what I want to ask. He also wants to ask it himself. After all, our family is all focused on Steel type. Apart from my dad's Charmeleon, our family has almost no non-Steel Pokémon. Daigo said. Don't come on, I haven't settled the score with you for cheating me yet. Wait for my day to come down and go to the Alola region to have another fight with you, Zahu said. Okay, no need for Lugia, Leafking, Mewtwo, Dragonite, and Gyarados, Articuno and Latias will do. Daigo said. Okay, then you don't need to use that shiny Metagross, Zahu said. Don't even think about it. I only have one Metagross that can fight against your monsters head on. If I don't use it, I'm afraid I'll be crushed and slaughtered by you. Daigo said. As a trainer, you must have a fearless heart, not afraid of the strong, and face challenges head on. As a former champion of Hone, how can you be afraid of powerful Pokémon and not challenge them? Zahu said with a tone of regret. Zahu, we are all people who have been champions of Hone. Don't fool anyone. Just keep your words to fool children. If it really doesn't work, you can tell Sharona. She has always been upset about your honorary title of the strongest champion. You are in the Sinnoh region now, and you will probably meet her. When you fight, give me the video. Daigo said. The strongest champion, there is no such thing. Besides, even if I'm not there, Sharona can only be said to be one of the strong contenders for the strongest champion. If you really say she is the strongest champion, you and Do will agree, Zahu said. I have no problem. I'm not the champion now. It should be Mikali's headache. Daigo said. Mikali is not weak, but there is a real gap between his Milotic and your Metagross. If you compare them, the possibility of losing to Sharona is still greater than the possibility of winning. Unless it is a gorgeous competition, The probability of Sharona winning is no more than 30%. Zahu said. That has nothing to do with me. In addition, I have a piece of news to tell you. Sharona has just borrowed the Diamond Soul from the Research Institute and is preparing to extract the dragon power in the Diamond Soul and use it with the Mega Evolution Stone to make her Garchomp achieve Eternal Evolution. Dago said, separation of power, Eternal Evolution, really interesting. Zahu nodded, but after thinking about it, he suddenly found something wrong, showing a weird smile and looking at Dago. Sharona borrowing the Diamond Soul is a very confidential matter. How did you know? This should be a very confidential matter. Could it be that you and Sharona have done that? What are you thinking about? Dago looked indifferent and disgusted. It's a reasonable judgment. The man and the woman are unmarried, the age is the same, and all conditions are perfectly matched. In terms of appearance, the man is handsome and the woman is beautiful. In terms of strength, they are equal. In terms of status, both are champions. Finally, even in terms of family background, you are also well matched. With this calculation, if you don't stay together, God will be angry and people will resent you. Zahu said with a teasing look. I really have no relationship with Sharona, okay? The reason I know is that I also want my Metagross to get the power of steel and evolve forever. Dago explained. Oh, so you also want to become stronger? Come and confront me. Zahu said. Dago coughed dryly. Let's talk about business. I came to you today because I have something to ask of you. Not denying is tacit consent. You really want to confront me? Goodbye, I won't see you. Zahu was about to hang up. Do you want a free hard scale treasure? Seeing that Zahu was about to hang up the video, Dago hurriedly said. Hard scale treasure? Continue. Zahu stopped and said. Didn't you suggest to President Darkranley that I send some hard scales back? I'll catch 10 or so and send them back. There's one with excellent qualifications. I'm thinking whether to give it to a good trainer to train. Dago said. Stop talking nonsense and talking about requirements. You won't give me Pokémon for free. Last time I took an iron dumbbell from you, I was undercover for more than 3 months and almost didn't come out of the ruins of ancient Atlantis. Zahu said. But now, not only have you come out, but you also mastered the Mega Evolution Stone, became the boss of the first amusement park in Hone, and have a group of loyal subordinates. You have become a more dazzling figure than me in one fell swoop. Now if the trainers in Hone don't know you, they are embarrassed to say that they are trainers. Dago said. That's because I'm good enough. Zahu said. Okay, then will you help me this time? Dago said. Let's talk about the content first. If it's dangerous, I promise to chase you for thousands of miles. Zahu said. This is really not dangerous. We are also studying the information on super evolution. In terms of separating the power of super ancient beasts, Ardu and Manufacturing Co Limited and the Sharona family have made great breakthroughs together. Especially in this Alola region, the power of Z moves can be borrowed. Dago said. Z move power. You actually thought of this? Now you come to me. What's the difficulty? Zahu said. The deciphering of the great god of light. Here is the information of a stone tablet. I hope you can help me decipher it. And you are going to challenge the steel gym in Steel City, right? Help me get some stones from Hyota. Once these two things are completed, it will be fine. Hard scale treasure. Wait for you to contact me in the front of the celebration city, and I can teleport to you. Dago said. Okay, I agree to this deal. Goodbye. Zahu said. Goodbye. Dago hung up the communication. Hard scale treasure. Do you really need it? If you do, just tell me directly. I will go to the Alola Sun altar to help you catch a few. There is no need to agree to Dago. Kona said. Hearing what Kona said, Zahu couldn't help but twitch his mouth slightly and mourned for Scales. You know, Scales' final evolution is also a quasi-god that can compete with Dragonite and other Pokémon. However, in the entire animation, it has no sense of existence. The other quasi-gods of each generation have more or less had the opportunity to show their strength. Dragonite, Metagross, and Garchomp are not to be mentioned. The champion's main pet, Dragonite, and the Orange Island's 10 special moves, made a stunning appearance. The three-headed dragon and Banjiro also have some cards. Even the slimy Malu, which was abused by Zyozzy, is said to be a powerful Pokémon in the animation, except for scales. There are very few shots in the animation. It's okay to count them on your fingers, but the key is that you can't see any powerful parts. Scales, the dominant Pokémon, but at the Sun Altar, with 3-digit scales and scales, was slaughtered and crushed by a silver companion war beast of the brother-in-law Gladion. Although it has the fairy attribute to restrain it, but with such a large number of them, and the title of the Overlord Pokémon, and your race value of quasi-god, you were actually slaughtered? It really makes people feel that the power of the armored dragon is not strong enough. No powerful trainer has captured one. If a Lollipalmer and Crimson Dragon are the shame of dragon Pokémon, then Armored Dragon can be said to be the shame of quasi-god, I guess. Except for Zahu, the time traveler, no one knows that Armored Dragon can actually compete with Dragonite. Chapter 387 Disdainful Zahu. When I get it, I'll train you and you'll know. Zahu couldn't say anything else now. Facts speak louder than words. It's better to get it first, train it, and show your strength. Otherwise, there's no point in saying more. It can also be regarded as a vindication for the staff-tailed scale armored dragon. Okay, if it's really as valuable as you said, plus the hard scale treasure sent by Dago, it must be the top batch in the Sun Altar. This reward is considered a big reward. You went to the Steel City to get things by the way, and translating the materials is your interest. The cost is pitifully small, so it's a good profit. Kona said. Yeah, even the translation of the materials may not be required of me. I suspect that Dago was blocked by me in the Alola Islands for a long time, so he deliberately used the heart scale treasure to let me let him go. Zahu said. If so, Dago has given you to quasi-gods, and I really need your gratitude. Kona said. Yes, if you think about it this way, Dago has been very good to me. Although he has been a bit of a rip-off, he is much better than Watari, who only knows how to rip me off. And if you think about it this way, I now have 4 quasi-gods in my hands. Dragonite of Kanto, Banjera of Johto, Huge Salamander of Hone, and Iron Dumbbell. With Scalaborg, I will have 5 quasi-gods. If I can find another Landshark or Dragonite and Slimy, I will have 6 quasi-gods. I can just use this Linoop to challenge the Sinnoh League. Zahu said in surprise. 6 divine beasts of Johto, 6 quasi-gods of Sinnoh. Are you going to rely on hard power to crush them to death from beginning to end? Kona said. It's fun to put together a team this way. If I didn't have enough Pokémon, I would have to have 6 EV, 6 Go and 3 Pokémon. Zahu said. With his strength, if he lost, it would only be a shame. If he won, it would not be glorious. In fact, it was a thankless task. He had long passed the stage of fighting for fame. The reason for participating in the competition was to have fun, wasn't it? Sharona, Dago and the others are now striving to catch up with your title of the strongest champion, and you are still on a leisurely vacation, putting together a team to play. Aren't you afraid of being surpassed one day? Kona scolded. Being surpassed? Do you think that the eternal Mega Evolution can defeat these Pokémon of mine? Zahu showed a playful smile on his face. Don't forget who discovered the Mega Evolution Stone first, and who has been leading the research on the Mega Evolution Stone in the past 6 months. In the past 6 months, I have hardly trained Pokémon like Steelix, so Iron Dumbbell is still just Iron Dumbbell. Except for Dragonite's desire for the blue sky and completing the evolution in advance, the rest have almost no changes. Many people probably think that my strength is standing still. Then how strong are you now? Kona asked curiously. She also wanted to know this question. It's hard to say, it's just that they haven't even reached 1/10 of my research and application of the energy of the Mega Evolution Stone and the Eternal Mega Evolution. Half a month ago, Lugia and Mewtwo had a fight, and it was a draw. Zahu said. Draw. Kona's face changed. She watched Lugia grow up all the way, and knew Lugia's strength very well. Before getting the power of the Sea Temple, Zyalo was almost at the level of a novice Pokémon. After getting the power of the Sea Temple, he was considered an elite. After that, he got the unknown Lugia energy in Hinoki Town, and his strength improved by leaps and bounds, but he was still far from the strength of a true first level beast. After participating in the Sea God election, after constant fighting, and the power inheritance of the Lugia family, his strength improved, approaching the first level beast, and began to surpass the power evaluation system such as the King of Kings. But there is still a big gap between him and the Mewtwo he first met. How can he compete with the current super evolved Mewtwo? The super evolved boulder has terrifying power. If it is completely excavated, it may destroy the world. Many people's research directions are also focused on this direction. But it is just a piece of stone. If it is excavated like this, and its energy is absorbed, how many Pokémon can be eternally super evolved? In fact, the boulder is just a key to unlock the potential of Pokémon's body, rather than providing it directly. Zahu said. I see, but it seems that there is no discovery in the league. You are hiding it. Kona said. That's right, I really didn't. It's just that my plan took too much time and resources, and some people in the alliance disagreed. They wanted to commit suicide. Do you think I can stop them? I just took the opportunity to quit my title and go home to accompany you. Zahu spread his hands. Then let them commit suicide. Many people in this world don't know the pain until they hit a snag. Kona said. After being one of the 4 kings of the alliance for so many years, he was very clear about some of the alliance's activities. That's right, we are busy with our own things. Moltres and Zapdos, the 2 conscienceless ones, forgot about me after becoming the god of fire and the god of thunder. Only Articuno is still with me. I can't let its strength fall behind. On the contrary, I want it to become the strongest god of ice, or even the strongest ice Pokémon. Zahu said. Among the 3 birds, Articuno and Zahu have evolved through a bond. It is said to be the strongest, but if it leaves Zahu, it will be the weakest among the 3 birds. Because Articuno is the only one among the 3 birds that has not received the bonus of the God Bird Orb. Now that the other 2 birds have inherited the throne, I'm afraid they will also begin to surpass the level of the first level of the king. Articuno followed him, so of course he had to consider more for Articuno. The strongest ice type Pokémon. Are you really going to go to the Unova region to defeat Kyurem? Kona said with a smile. Among the strongest ice type Pokémon, Kyurem from the Unova region has the best racial value. If we want to be the strongest, we must defeat Kyurem first. If I meet him, I will try. Becoming stronger together with Pokémon, isn't this the main purpose of us trainers? Zahu said. That's right, but if you want to talk about the most powerful ice type Pokémon, you have to pass me. I'm the authority in Kanto when it comes to the use of ice type Pokémon. Kona was in high spirits, with a dignified aura, revealing the confidence of a strong woman. Yes, my beautiful ice queen. Zahu said with a smile. Kona smiled, with an intoxicating joy on her lips. Her eyebrows and eyes moved, and she had 1,000 styles. The air began to emit the smell of love. So corny, so corny. In this harmonious atmosphere, Meow Meow, who had eaten and drunk enough, screamed with an expression of unbearable expression on his face. Zahu's face darkened, and he grabbed Meow Meow without saying a word, and threw her out. If you can't speak, don't speak. No one thinks you are dumb. If you talk too much, I will feed you medicine and poison you into muteness. He moved his body silently and got closer to Kona. Kona also cooperated silently, leaning on Zahu's shoulder, and began to show affection. Boss, it's bad, Lumigia is coming. Let's go. Zyajiro rushed over and shouted. Zahu's face darkened. It's my fault. I shouldn't have brought these 2 guys with me on my honeymoon. Chapter 388 The Barchang Zhi. Iron Dumbbell. You slam. Show your true courage. Sure. Make the best defense. Counterpunch. At night, Zahu and others came to a forest and camped to rest. Zahu began to train the Pokémon he had. The first one to be trained was Iron Dumbbell, a Pokémon that had only one special move, Slam. Speaking of which, among the quasi-gods in the initial stage of each region, Iron Dumbbell was really the most pitiful one. Other Pokémon, even in the initial stage, can learn a variety of special moves, and there are no shortage of tricks. After all, normally, a Pokémon has 4 to 10 special moves. For the rest of the special moves, even if they can learn them, their proficiency cannot be improved, and there is no use in learning them. In battle, it is just a waste of the Pokemon's energy, and at most they are just pretending to be Poppy. Only Iron Dumbbell can only use Slam, and can't do anything fancy. In terms of command, there is generally no difference between novices and elites, and they all have one special move. So Zahu, no matter what, he has to let it evolve first. The sound of fighting rang out fiercely. Sure enough, Wang used his special move of returning punches with a patient expression, knocking the Iron Dumbbell back again and again. Zahu encouraged the Iron Dumbbell again and again, and the Iron Dumbbell's red eyes flashed. He fought again and again, and responded to Zahu's feelings with more intense attacks. Bang! After a fierce impact, the Iron Dumbbell was bounced back, and fell to the ground. Okay, today's training ends here. Great Iron Dumbbell. Zahu touched the Iron Dumbbell and said, "It is the duty of every trainer to give the right encouragement to the Pokemon who train seriously." Iron Dumbbell's glasses flashed to respond to Zahu's emotions. "You are also great." Sure enough. Today's extra meal. Zahu said. So they say sure enough, Wen gave a beautiful salute to express his joy of completion. Okay, let's eat. Zahu clapped his hands and cooperated with Kajiro to make a sumptuous dinner for humans and Pokemon. Everyone happily prepared to eat. A voice suddenly sounded from the side. "Hello, can I camp next door?" Zahu looked over curiously and saw a man with long hair and a robe, holding a musical instrument and a mimosa, walking out of the woods. "No problem, if you don't mind, we can have a meal together." Zahu smiled. It is a very common thing to eat when traveling in the wild. "Thank you, my name is Shangzi, and I'm a bard." Shangzi sat down and said politely, "I'm Zahu, this is my girlfriend Kona, and my friends Kajiro and Meow Meow." Zahu smiled and nodded. "Thank you." After thanking the parasitic mushroom who helped him get the bowl and chopsticks, Shangzi calmly sat down and ate with Zahu and others. The meal was finished in a relatively harmonious atmosphere. After the meal, Shangzi picked up his organ-like instrument and said, "Thank you very much for the sumptuous dinner. In return, I will present a song for you to repay you. I'm all ears." Zahu responded with an expectant expression. It was the first time he met a bard since he traveled so far. Shangzi's slender fingers, like those of a woman, plucked the harp and began to sing. The sound was pleasant and made people feel peaceful. The shy buds beside him also danced happily. At the end of the song, Zahu and others couldn't help but applaud to encourage and express their satisfaction. Shangzi stood up and bowed to thank them. After eating together and listening to another song, everyone's relationship seemed to be better. Kajiro and Meow Meow were both outgoing and soon started talking to Shangzi. During the conversation, Shangzi asked a question to Zahu and others. "May I ask, what is the purpose of your trip?" "I'm traveling with the SYNOPSIS League as my goal, but I also plan to participate in the grand contest." Kajiro is traveling purely for the grand contest, and Kona is traveling with me to see the beautiful scenery of SYNOPSIS, Zahu said. Mr. Zahu plans to participate in both the SYNOPSIS League and the grand contest. Shangzi showed a hint of surprise on his face, but his eyes showed excitement, as if he had discovered something very important. "That's right. Anyway, it won't delay me. I can win the championship." "What do you mean by asking this, Mr. Shangzi?" Zahu said. "Actually, I'm not afraid to tell you, Mr. Zahu, that I'm in a dilemma. I've traveled to many places over the years until I met this kid. So I want to participate in some competitions, but I don't know whether to participate in the SYNOPSIS League tournament or the Grand Celebration Conference." Shangzi looked at the mimosa next to him and said with a puzzled expression, "It depends on Mr. Shangzi's personal preference. How about Mr. Shangzi and my Parasaurolophus fight each other?" Zahu said. "I'd love to." Mr. Shangzi said. The two stood up and did some leisure warm-up after dinner. Mr. Shangzi's fingers gently stroked the harp and said to the Mimosaurophytum, "Mimosaurophytum, please use the seed machine gun." "Parasaurus, Sky Punch," Zahu said. Parasaurus jumped with his legs and swiftly dodged the seed machine gun of the Mimosaurophytum. He was next to the Mimosaurophytum and punched the Mimosaurophytum into the sky. The mimosa was frustrated, but Mr. Shangzi did not panic. He still said politely, "Please use million tons of absorption." The mimosa in the sky rotated beautifully in the sky, and the green energy wave surged towards the Parasaurolophus. The Parasaurolophus's face changed, but the mimosa's body flashed a faint glow, and its physical strength was recovering rapidly. Good performance. Zahu nodded, expressing his appreciation. Perhaps it was the bard's usual elegant style. In the Pokémon battle, Shangzi used the word please to command Pokémon, and he was calm and elegant. The performance of the mimosa was also good. When it was hit into the sky, it also turned gracefully, which was indeed suitable for the gorgeous competition. Parasaurolophus, in return, absorbed the fist. Zahu said. The Parasaurolophus reacted quickly, dispersed the absorption, and the right fist flashed with green light. A punch flew into the sky and hit the mimosa, absorbing the mimosa's physical strength, and then smashed the mimosa on the ground, stirring up the wind and sand. The mimosa suddenly showed a circle of eyes. It seems that Mr. Zahu is still more powerful, and we lost. Shang Zhi said. It's just a small victory or defeat. It's not important. Zahu smiled and shook his head, but I do have a suggestion for Mr. Shang Zhi's choice. Mr. Shang Zhi, you can participate in both. That's the suggestion. You don't have to give up one because of choosing one. Thank you, Mr. Zahu. Mr. Shang Zhi said. I ask Mr. Shang Zhi to choose both, not because the choice is difficult. I suggest Mr. Shang Zhi to experience it seriously, feel it with your heart, and then make the right choice. I have a student who once had the same problem as Mr. Shang Zhi. He likes the grand contest, but his father is the Dragon King Genji of Hone, who does not allow him to participate. At that time, I gave him the choice to participate in both, and make a decision, after experiencing which one is suitable for him. I also talked to his father on his behalf. In fact, my heart hopes that he will challenge the league conference just like his father. I suggested that he participate in both, in order to let him experience the league conference and like it. But in the end he insisted on wanting the grand contest, so I also supported him. But you are different. Bard is a romantic profession. Your command style is also close to romanticism. In fact, participating in the grand contest is more suitable for you. However, the grand contest sometimes does not focus on strength, which is not conducive to the improvement of Pokémon strength. So I suggest that you turn the grand battle into your own fighting style, and also perform well in the gym competition. Only in this way can you hone your strength. This is also what a truly powerful coordination trainer should look like. I suggest you watch the Game of Hone champion Mikali. He is now the top coordination trainer, and can become a champion. I don't need to say more about his Pokémon battle level. Zahu said. Thank you, Mr. Zahu. I think I will understand. Shangzi solemnly thanked. The next morning, Shangzi took the harp and his own mimosa and set out on the journey again. Guiding lost people is a job that suits the champion very well. You really shouldn't resign. Kona said. No, I just feel that Kasumi, Hikaru, and Kojiro are not enough for me to torture. If I can guide one more person to participate in the coordination competition, I will be happier to torture them. If they also participate in the alliance competition and run into me, I will torture them twice, and I will feel twice as happy. Zahu said. Kona's smile froze for a while before he said, you are right to resign. The Hone Alliance is happy. Chapter 389. Battle in the Psychedelic Forest. After parting with Shangzi, Zahu and others headed towards Zuking City again. On the way, they passed a large forest again. Zahu, who travels at will, basically spends more time traveling in the wild than in the city. However, this forest today is special. The Psychedelic Forest, also known as the Illusion Forest, the Confusing Forest. From the name, you can see that this forest is dangerous. A natural maze. The forest covers a large area, and the trees and weeds are tall and dense, which is difficult for ordinary people to distinguish. In addition, the geomagnetic field is naturally chaotic. The elf navigation cannot send any information here, and the compass loses its effectiveness at the same time. Together, it is more difficult to get out than a maze. Especially because this place is too comfortable. It attracts a group of frightened deer to reproduce here, making past travelers fall into the illusion and unable to extricate themselves. For example, now, on the forest path, Kachiro, Mioneo, and the three guys, Guor and Weng, lie on the ground together, waving their hands back and forth, doing an ugly dog paddle swimming posture. Zehu and Kona stood aside, happily recording with a camera. "Are you really not afraid of being bullied by these two guys?" Kona said with a smile on his face. The superpowers of a single frightened deer are average, but when a group of frightened deer gather together, the quantitative change will lead to qualitative change. So Zyajiro, Meowth, and Giran Weng were all hit. As for Zehu and Kona, with a group of Pokémon such as Lugia, Mew, and Hippoking, it is really difficult to fall into the illusion. However, Zehu, who was awake, did not wake up Zyajiro and the other two, but instead recorded their dark history. "What are you afraid of? If the IQ of Zyajiro and Meowth is doubled, it will be a problem, whether they have half of mine. Why am I afraid of being bullied by them? As for Giran Weng, this guy is suspected of rebellion recently, so let's take the opportunity to deal with him," Zehu said. "But, we are just watching here, don't you think it's crazy?" Kona said. She swore that, if a stranger asked her what the relationship between Zehu and her was, she would decisively say that she had nothing to do with Zehu. "No, recording is just a side job. The key is to train Pokémon." Zehu pointed to the iron dumbbell next to him that was constantly hitting Pokémon. The superpower illusion of the frightened deer is a large-scale attack regardless of the target. Many Pokémon are knocked unconscious. The iron dumbbell hits them like this and wakes them up, which can also gain experience points. Moreover, they will thank the iron dumbbell when they wake up. It's a win-win situation. Maybe they will evolve after the collision. "You are a steel and psychic Pokémon, but you only know one general type trick. It's a joke," Zehu said. "Then wait for evolution. You record it. I will also listen to the sounds in this forest. I haven't listened to the sounds of nature for a long time." Kona closed his eyes comfortably, lifted his purple-red hair, and listened to the sounds in the woods. Because the woods are dense, there are many round wizards and speaker crickets living here. Although the prototype of this Pokémon is the cricket in the previous life, in this world, they are all natural performers. The singing is very beautiful. It is very suitable for people like Kona who like to listen to natural sounds. Zehu recorded the video silently, and also directed Iron Dumbbell to use Slam, constantly attacking the Pokémon on the roadside. There is no better way to upgrade the Pokémon level than this. Iron Dumbbell kept ramming, and after a long ramming battle, a dazzling white light finally emerged from his body. When the light faded, a brand new metal monster appeared in front of Zehu. "Finally evolved," Zehu said. The metal monster was delighted, with its eyes curved to express satisfaction, and excitedly floated to Zehu's side. Zehu patted his head with a doting look. After evolving into a metal monster, you can start a real battle, and even start a show of tricks. You don't have to keep shouting Slam. This kind of operation is suitable for a hot-blooded teenager like Zyozzy, whose blood is full of blood in his brain, but not him. Let him shout Slam, say persistence, hot-blooded, we can do it. Sorry, Zehu really can't do it. It will be embarrassing. Roar. Just when Zehu was excited, a roar full of anger suddenly sounded from the woods. The ground trembled slightly, like the precursor of an earthquake. Zehu was surprised. This wasn't an earthquake zone. He looked over curiously, and saw smoke and dust billowing not far away. A large group of circle bears were rushing over aggressively. A cute baby bear was sitting on the shoulder of the leading circle bear. However, there was a mark on the baby bear's abdomen that was hit by something round. "Didn't you hit it with your head just now?" Zehu said. The metal monster nodded. "Didn't I tell you to only hit those who were unconscious?" Zehu said. The metal monster gestured with both hands. "You said you're addicted to it and can't stop?" Zehu touched his head with a look of collapse. It is said that Pokémon are like their owners, so Zyozzy is a problem child. Most of the Pokémon he collected were problem children with personality before they were captured. And I'm obviously a cold doctor and a professional master. Why are the Pokémon I captured all a bunch of funny people? Am I also a funny person in nature? Ugh. Zehu shook his head violently and threw this funny idea out of his mind. Face the vicious and vicious bears in front of him. Metal monsters are useless. They beat up other people's children. The parents of the other party came to the door. Then the metal monster parents have to come out. Steel Snake, Bangala, Parasaurolophus, and Tyranitar, all come out, all use the destruction ray. Zahu shouted. 4 Pokémon appeared at the same time, and then the terrifying golden light flashed in their mouths, and the destructive power was vented domineeringly, destroying everything and attacking. First, give a group of bears a warning and knock out the bears in front. Okay, then attack. Parasaurolophus exercises fighting ability, combines bursting fist and steel tail, and uses a complete set of fighting methods. Bangala, control the terrain, attack with sharp stones, and embody the tyranny of the desert tyrant. Tyranitar attacks from the sky and uses mobility. Finally, Steelix, dig a hole underground and bury all these bears. Zahu calmly issued combat orders. Although it was very bad to beat up the bear babies, it was also bad to beat up the parents who came to the door. However, Zahu didn't have the ability to reason with a group of angry bears. Even though he was proficient in the language of Pokémon, the angry beasts would not communicate with him. In order to avoid being trampled to death by the group of bears, Zahu made a decisive choice to beat the bears first, and then quickly slip away. As for the explanation, he would talk about it next time he met them. The 4 Pokémon of Steelix worked together, each showing their magical powers, and bursting out their greatest combat power. The momentum was so great that it affected half of the forest, and then the Pokémon in most of the forest were alarmed. Even the largest group Pokémon here, the Frythorn, was scared and ran away, and Kajero and the other 2 woke up. However, the battle did not last too long. The 4 Pokémon carefully cultivated and trained by Zahu were obviously superior to the bears on the opposite side. Steelix quickly dug a pit under the ground, where the bears were standing, and the Parasaurolophus easily knocked them unconscious, allowing them to live comfortably in the big pit. Then Zahu quickly left with Kajero, Mio, and Guoranweng, who were still confused and knew nothing. Chapter 390 Intimacy Test. After passing through the psychedelic forest, Zahu and his party walked a short distance, and arrived at the largest city in SYNOPSIS, Celebration City. It has the most prosperous economy and the most advanced technology. Because the celebration conference of the gorgeous contest is about to be held, many excellent coordination trainers have gathered here. In the park, the performances of Pokémon coordination trainers can be seen everywhere. However, Kajero, who is also one of the participants, is not training now, but is looking for a Pokémon watch in the streets and alleys. Zahu looked at Kajero in front of him helplessly, and couldn't help saying, Kajero, that's enough, isn't it just a Pokémon watch? Is it necessary to look for it like this? Boss, this is different. This is the first recommended in the travel guide, and it is recommended by the top coordination trainers. I must get it before my first game in SYNOPSIS, and then win all the way. Kajero said. As soon as Kajero finished speaking, the display screen on the department store next to him happened to announce the Pokémon Watch advertisement. Yours, mine, and everyone's Pokémon Watch. This high-tech product worn on the wrist is no longer a watch for telling time and location. It has a series of convenient, practical, and interesting functions, and is a symbol of fashion and trend. Now, the 4th generation of Pokémon watches has been launched, and the era of Pokémon watches has arrived. The Pocket Navigation Watch is on sale now, and it is available in major department stores in all regions of the league. After the voice advertisement ended, a beautiful coordination trainer appeared on the screen, wearing a watch, and making various beautiful movements. Even the top coordination trainer is advertising. This is a proof of art. Kajero said excitedly. Once it has a relationship with money, art often becomes impure. Believe it or not, I made a deal with Mikali. On the condition that I return to take over the championship, I'll let him endorse something that is not a scam, but also has few benefits. He will help me without hesitation. Zahu said. But this newly invented watch really has a different effect, and it can also test the intimacy between myself and Pokémon. Kajero said. There's no need to check this. Except for Squirtle, Long-Tailed Hand, and Gas Bomb. The intimacy between you and each of your Pokémon is close to the maximum value. Zahu said. Anyway, I want it. Kajero said. Okay, let's go. Zahu said helplessly, not knowing whether he was older than Kajero or Kajero was older than him. Kajero followed excitedly in front. Although Zuking City is the largest city in SYNOPSIS under the guidance of the map, Kajiro finally found the Pokémon Watch store after bumping around for a long time and rushed in excitedly. However, before he rushed in, an excited voice sounded almost at the same time, "Pokémon Watch." Then the two figures collided violently and Kajiro was knocked to the ground. "Who is it?" Kajiro and the other party shouted at the same time and then looked up at each other and said, "Xiaoguang, Kajiro, are you here to buy Pokémon Watches too?" Zahu looked at Xiaozi and Xiaogang behind Xiaoguang. "Yes, Xiaoguang and Xiaoxia both want it, so we are here. Brother, you guys should buy it too," Xiaozi said happily. "Your big brother Xiaojiro wants to buy it," Zahu said. "Okay, the two on the ground, and Xiaoxia, go in and buy it. Now that you are here, just buy it." "Yes, Pokémon Watches." Xiaojiro ran in excitedly and bought one first, and then Xiaoguang and Xiaoxia followed and bought two. Then the three of them came out excitedly, showing off their watches in various ways. Zahu looked disgusted. Xiaoguang and Xiaoxia were fine. It was normal for them to like such trendy things because of their girlish hearts. But Xiaojiro, you are over 20 years old and you should have married and had children in this world. Is it really okay to be so childish? This new watch can detect the intimacy between Pokémon and trainers. Let's test it together, Xiaoxia suggested. She just got the thing and couldn't help but want to use it. Use it on your newly captured Pokémon. It's just right to play with it, Zahu said. The new ones, Infernape, Squirtle, and Mukle, come out. Xiaozi threw 3 Pokéballs with a look on his face. The red light flashed, and 3 Pokémon kept appearing in front of Zahu. 3 more. With Pikachu, the Perfecta Charizard, and the Spurd, you already have 8 Pokémon, and the quota is full. Fortunately, I applied to the League for 2 special quotas for your research and travel, otherwise you would have to send Lucario or Sukuna away, Zahu said. But, that's how we got them together, Xiaozi said. Okay, 1 bird and 1 turtle for each continent, which also suits your operation. Test the intimacy value. I also want to see how close we are, Zahu said. I'll do it. First for Pikachu. Xiaoxia volunteered, picked up the Pokémon Watch to test the intimacy, and on the small screen, a heart slowly jumped, and finally expanded to a size close to the full face. What is this? Is it a very high satisfaction? Xiaoguang came up and asked curiously. He was so excited when he bought it just now that he forgot to ask how to use it specifically. It's very high. It's just a little bit away from the limit, Zahu said. Mr. Zahu, you also know this? Xiaoguang was surprised. The intimacy between Pokémon and trainers is an important criterion for considering whether a trainer is qualified. Especially many studies have shown that some Pokémon must have a close bond with the trainer to evolve, the most famous of which are the Sun Elves and the Moon Elves. So we work hard to digitize the intimacy and believe that the intimacy is between 0 and 255, Zahu said. Then why is this not a numerical value? Xiaoxia asked curiously. There are 2 reasons. First, the numerical value is too detailed. This watch cannot be so detailed. It can only give a vague one. Second, it is too ridiculous to give specific numerical values to feelings. Pokémon are not electronic data. As creatures, they are still internal things such as inner feelings. I never agree with using data to divide them. My teacher and I advocate the segmented method. This situation has basically reached the highest stage. You and Pikachu have reached the point where you can give up yourself for each other, Zahu said. Yes, no matter what, Pikachu and I will always be the best friends, Xiaozi said proudly, and Pikachu also excitedly lay on Xiaozi's head. Let's test it again. I also want to know the next intimacy, Zahu said. Okay, next is Flame. Xiaoxia put the watch in front of Flame, and the last heart appeared, which was a circle smaller than Pikachu's heart just now. Very good value. Generally, trainers need to be with Pokémon for 2 or 3 years to get it. Xiaozi, you take good care of it, Zahu praised. Xiaozi nodded happily and jumped up with the little flame monkey excitedly, fully demonstrating what it means to be immature mentally. Okay, let's test other things too. Xiaoxia was addicted to testing and tested one by one. After testing Xiaoguang and Xiaogang, she turned her eyes to Zahu. Okay, Zahu said indifferently. He also wanted to test to see his shortcomings. He walked to the side and released all the Pokémon he brought with him. The final test results did not surprise Zahu, and they were basically very close and intimate. Only the status of two Pokémon surprised Zahu. One is Entei and the other is Bangula. These two Pokémon are different from the rest of the team. Entei can only follow reluctantly because of the order of the King of Phoenix, and Bangula is even more exaggerated, just being beaten up. However, Entei is actually intimate, and Bangula is also friendly. He always thought that Entei is friendly and Bangula is just indifferent. As a result, they both grew. Thinking of this, Zahu touched Yandi's big head and said, "I didn't realize, old Yan, that you still like me very much." Yandi snorted with disgust, spit out flames, and burned Zahu to a crisp on the outside and tender on the inside. Chapter 391 Finding a Babysitter for Zinlinbao. The fairy spirit jumped lightly and jumped onto Zahu. The ribbon danced lightly, flashing charming brilliance, sweeping away the black and grey on Zahu's body. Looking at Zahu, who was shining all over, the fairy spirit's blue round eyes were curved, revealing a comfortable expression, and the ribbon rubbed Zahu's cheek intimately. "Thank you, fairy spirit, you are still good to me." Zahu rubbed his face against the fairy spirit's smooth cheek, and the fairy spirit also responded intimately. Although the evolution method is slightly different from the sun spirit and the moon spirit, they all have enough intimacy. "What is this Pokémon?" Xiaoguang looked at the fairy spirit and curiously opened the Pokémon encyclopedia. Fairy spirit, a link Pokémon, the evolution of Eevee, will use its metal-like tentacles to wrap around the arms of its favorite trainer and walk together. This is also one of the evolutions of Eevee. I haven't seen it before. It's so cute. Xiaoguang said with love. This is one of Zahu's major discoveries. However, at present, there are more people studying in the Kalos region, and few trainers in other regions have successfully evolved into fairy elves. Kona explained. How cute. Mr. Zahu is going to use this child to participate in the competition? Do you want me to find a nice dress for this child? The right clothing accessories can enhance the charm of Pokémon. Xiaoguang said. Dress? Zahu looked at Xiaoguang with a smile. This child is a boy. Boy? Xiaoguang said in disbelief. That's right. Although fairy elves are a beautiful family and love to act like a spoiled child, the ratio of male to female is 7 to 1. On average, there is only one female fairy elf for every 8. Zahu said. Such a cute one must be a boy. Kona added. Zahu was quite cute when he was a child, and he became less cute as he grew older. When giving examples, you can change to something else. Zahu glanced at Kona and said. Then do you think you were not cute when you were a child? Kona asked back, with a faint smile on his face. Xiaoxia and Xiaoguang laughed secretly. Xiaoguang meowed to suppress his laughter. Xiaoguang was resentful, and Xiaoxi looked at Pikachu. What happened? Forget it, it's not important. Let's go to the Pokémon Center. The hard scale that Dago promised should be delivered. Zahu wisely changed the subject and walked to the Pokémon Center first. After a brief exchange, a red light flashed on the Pokémon transmitter, and a Pokéball appeared out of thin air. Zahu took the Pokéball and threw it up. A palm-sized 4-legged dinosaur with heart-shaped scales on its head appeared in sight. It seemed to be afraid of the unfamiliar environment around it, and the little dinosaur shrank its body. Hello, we will get along together in the future. Zahu bent down and tried to keep his eyes level with Heartscale, showing kindness. Heartscale raised its head and looked at Zahu with a cute face. After a little hesitation, it climbed onto Zahu's hand obediently and licked Zahu's hand with its pink little tongue. Little cutie, welcome to become my new partner. I will take care of your food and daily life in the future. Zahu smiled. Heartscale nodded, as if it felt Zahu's kindness, and jumped happily onto Zahu's shoulder, then lay comfortably. This Heartscale seems to have just been born not long ago. It's just a baby. Kona said. Yeah, I don't know if Dago is kind or wants to trick me. Zahu said. As a professional and authoritative doctor, even if there is no professional machine to check, Zahu's expertise can still clearly determine that this Heartscale is a baby that has just been born, and it can also accurately determine that it has been born for less than a week. Now there is still a little milk fragrance unique to infant Pokémon on its body. In the infant stage that needs careful care, just like the released Tokopi, it is just a cute little baby and does not have the ability to fight. Instead, it needs the trainer to take care of it everywhere and even find a special nanny like Pikachu to take care of it. If you are unlucky, like Tokopi before evolution, it can only use one finger wave from beginning to end. Zahu may not be able to send it to the field after the SYNOPSIS League game. So Dago was not a helper for a long time, but a little ancestor. It's so small, it's cute. Even if it doesn't fight, it's good to keep it as a pet. On the contrary, after evolving, the scaled armored dragon is not cute. Kona's slender fingers gently tease the heart-scaled Pokémon, and the cute reaction of the heart-scaled Pokémon made her motherly love. Xiaoguang and Xiaoxia next to them also looked at it with shining eyes, surrounded it, and teased the baby heart-scaled Pokémon. When did you become so concerned about the appearance of Pokémon cuteness? You are one of the 4 kings of the practical faction, not Mikali, the coordinated trainer? Zahu said. Because I'm also a girl, there is no girl who doesn't like cute Pokémon. Kona said. Yeah. Xiaoxia and Xiaoguang nodded their heads wildly, like pounding garlic to agree. That's not right. Rika likes all vicious ones. And there are not many cute ghost type ones that Grandma Kikuko likes. Zahu said. That's because Rika has a bad personality. Kona complained mercilessly. Okay, but we have to find a special nanny to take care of the little hard-scale baby. Zahu thought about it, took out a treasure ball from his waist, and threw it, saying, Ninetailed, come out and take care of the baby. Ninetailed appeared elegantly, and its slender white tail shone with icy light, like a charming elf in the ice and snow. Ninetailed, there is a new baby in our team. I will trouble you to take care of it in the future. Zahu said. Ninetailed nodded meekly, then looked up at the little heart-scale baby, trying to be gentle and close, but accidentally exhaled a breath of cold air, and the little heart-scale baby shrank, and hugged Zahu even harder. You've picked the wrong person. Kona gently held Scale Heart in his arms and said angrily, you let Ninetail, an ice and fairy Pokémon, take care of a dragon baby. Aren't you letting a wolf be a nanny for a sheep? It can't be helped. Ninetail is the only one in my team who has been a father. He has experience. And there are many cases of mice becoming brides of cats these days. Meowth, a cat Pokémon, will still be defeated when it meets Pikachu, a mouse Pokémon. Zahu said. Boss, you can give examples, not me. Meow. Meowth said dissatisfiedly. It's the same. The attributes are nothing. Zyos, Bulbasaur and Squirtle are so good that they can wear the same pants. Now in the Oak Research Institute, Bulbasaur is already the second person in the Squirtle Corps. Ninetail and Scaleheart get along more, and Scaleheart will also like Ninetail. Besides, I'm training it in advance to be familiar with Fairy and Ice Pokémon, so it won't be afraid in future battles. Zahu said. Alright, this way everyone can love Scales of Heart. Kona said, stroking Scales of Heart's little head. Okay, Misty, Hickory, and Kachiro, get ready. The celebration will be in a few days. This is everyone's first grand competition in SYNOPSIS, especially Hickory. This is your debut competition. Try your best to get the ribbon medal as soon as you debut. Zahu said. I will work hard. Hickory said energetically. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 392 Celebration Meeting. The venue of the Grand Contest Celebration. Many coordination trainers gathered together, wearing gorgeous costumes. The audience seats were filled with spectators early on. People came and went, and Kachiro, who came here for the first time to participate in the competition, was secretly surprised. They are all grand contests. Why does it feel more lively here than home? Because the development here is indeed better than home. Just like the grand performance, Hone is relatively casual, only requiring Pokémon, while here the trainers have to wear exquisite dresses, and the Pokéballs have to be affixed with stickers, to create a shocking flashing appearance effect. The sense of ceremony is stronger. Life needs a sense of ceremony, not to mention a big performance like the Grand Contest. It can be said that the Sinnoh Grand Contest is the highest art hall that every coordination trainer wants to conquer. Otherwise, why do you think that guy Mikali comes here every day? Zahu said. Mikali? Brother Zahu, is the Mikali you are talking about the coordination master Mikali of Hone? Do you know him? Xiaoguang said with a surprised look. As they get along, she also changed the name from Mr. Zahu to Brother Zahu. HMM. Didn't Xiaozi and Xiaoxia mention it to you? Zahu said. What did they mention? Xiaoguang asked puzzledly. I forgot to say that I have been busy catching new Pokémon and explaining the common sense of trainers recently, so I forgot to introduce them. Brother Zahu is the former champion of the Hone League, and Sister Kona is the Ice King among the 4 kings of Kanto. They are all friends of Mr. Mikali. Xiaoxia introduced. Ah. Brother Zahu is the champion. Sister Kona is the king. Xiaoguang said with shock. She knew that Zahu and the other 2 were powerful, but she didn't expect them to be so powerful. This was too outrageous. I'm the predecessor. Zahu corrected. That is also a champion. Xiaoguang said with a little despair. The former champion is also a champion. Thinking that there is a champion among his opponents this time, Xiaoguang, who is already under great pressure, feels even more sad. Why is there a monster in the debut competition? It's just a name. The champion king is also immortal. There is no halo on his head. One day I will take you to see more kings, and you will understand. Zahu said. Okay. Xiaoguang responded with a stiff smile. That's for you. After a long while, he couldn't help but said to Zahu, Brother Zahu, you are already a champion. Can you still participate in the league conference? Isn't this bullying other players? No, the league has no rules. Of course I can participate freely. The only rule of the league is that you can't participate in a competition in the same region repeatedly, Zahu said. Because, apart from you, there will be no other champions to participate in such a competition. Kona said on the side. By the way, since we are going to travel, why not challenge the gym league? Otherwise, it will be boring. Zahu said. You say it, but you have to prepare yourself. Don't be eliminated in one round. If so, it will be embarrassing if it gets out. Kona said. It doesn't matter. Anyway, not many people in Hone know me. It's embarrassing. Let me fail. It's also a good thing for my personal growth. As long as Fairy Elf, Nine-Tailed Fox, and Togekiss think it's fun. Zahu said confidently. Yes, I thought so too. We need to make Long-Tailed Monster feel fun. Xiaozi nodded. He also participated in this competition because Long-Tailed Monster who came with him wanted to play the Grand Contest. He, who always respected the decision of Pokémon, agreed. Then let's go all out. Zahu smiled. Time passed slowly, and the time for the Zhuking City Grand Contest finally came. The gorgeous fireworks bloomed, the bright lights radiated, and the host in a gorgeous dress appeared charmingly amid the cheers of the audience, introducing the general knowledge of the Grand Contest and the official judges who are always the same 3 people. Mr. Kankenstein, the director of the Pokémon Grand Contest Affairs Bureau, Sumizo, the Pokémon Club who said I like this, and Miss Joy. Zahu casually drew the number 1, and he didn't mind. Being the first to go on stage was nothing. Wearing the dress carefully selected by Kona, he walked onto the stage and swung the Pokéball naturally. The Pokéball opened, and a large piece of pink love energy emerged, releasing a sweet breath. The fairy elf appeared on the stage, and the pink glow made her body more charming. Fairy elves, dance, fairy wind, Zahu said. The fairy elves' charming ribbons fluttered gracefully, blowing out a gorgeous wind, blowing through the energy hearts around them, and bits of light fell down and landed on the fairy elves, further highlighting the charm of the fairy elves. Next magic shines, Zahu said. The fairy elves' ribbons fluttered, and colorful rainbow lights flashed and flew into the sky, controlling the energy, flashing brilliantly, and a huge pink heart floated in the air. Okay, finally, a flash of lightning. Break it. Zahu snapped his fingers. The fairy elves jumped lightly, turned into a white light, broke through the heart, and landed gracefully. The light spread to the entire venue, and many fell on the audience seats. The audience reached out to touch it, showing an amazed expression, and then burst into thunderous applause. The 3 judges also nodded repeatedly. The precise use of fairy wine demonstrates the control of the special move, and fully displays the charm of the fairy Pokémon. It's a wonderful performance. I like it. I like it too. The special moves of the fairy Pokémon are beautiful and powerful. I want to raise a fairy Pokémon. In the backstage, Xiaoguang was even more stressed. Isn't Brother Zahu a combat trainer? How can the performance be so great? Because the coordination trainer is just one of the trainers. Naturally other trainers can also achieve such charm, but the coordination trainer focuses on beauty, and showing beauty is instinctive, so it is much stronger than ordinary trainers. And Zahu has long been considered an ordinary trainer. Kona said. So, next, we must train the Pokémon's evasion ability, otherwise it is very likely that in less than 5 minutes, it will be beaten by Brother Zahu, and lose its combat effectiveness. Xiaoxia said. Don't be too pessimistic. This is a gorgeous competition, which is different from ordinary competitions. Try your best, and you can last for 5 minutes. This is where you prove that the gorgeous competition is different. Show the charm of a coordination trainer. You need to justify the reputation of a coordination trainer, Kona said. Encouraged by Kona, Xiaoguang had never seen Zahu fight, which was fine, but Xiaoxia couldn't laugh. However, it was her turn to play soon, so she had to put aside her complaints and perform. The performance time was not long, so although there were many contestants, the first round of review was still quickly completed. Zahu and his group waited for the results of the first round of review. Zahu and his group were very calm. After all, it was not their first time to participate. Only Xiaoguang fell to the ground, as if she had used up all her strength. Zahu knew that this was her first time to participate in a gorgeous competition. Because she was too nervous, she didn't say much. After more experience in the future, she would naturally not be nervous. After waiting for a while, the list of people who passed the first round of review finally came out. Fortunately, all 5 of Zahu passed. However, it was natural that there were only 8 people on the second round list, and Zahu and his group accounted for 5 of them. In the next battle, there would definitely be internal fighting. Fortunately, only one pair had to fight internally, and the other 3 did not. However, Xiaoxia, who had to fight Zahu, felt that she was not lucky at all. Chapter 393 Xiaoxia vs Zahu. The match between Zahu and Xiaoxia is about to start. Let's look forward to the exciting match between the 2 players. Fairy Elf, make a shining debut. Zahu threw the Pokeball decisively. The red light flashed, and the Fairy Elf made her charming appearance. It's the Fairy Elf, the weakest of the 3 Pokémon of Brother Zahu. This way I still have a chance. Xiaoxia secretly rejoiced, touched the Pokeball on her waist, and shouted, "Come out, my blue sweetheart." The red light flashed, and the ferocious Gyarados appeared on the field, roared, and gave the Fairy Elf a show of strength. However, the Fairy Elf had a calm expression, and even a hint of disdain. It had played with the giant Gyarados since childhood, and even went out to sea on the head of the giant Gyarados, riding the wind and waves. Xiaoxia's Gyarados, you still want to scare it? As if sensing the Fairy Elf's disdain, Xiaoxia touched the headband on her hair, and the evolution keystone on the headband emitted a colorful glow, reflecting the super evolution stone on Gyarados' head. The light shone against each other, and a majestic momentum rushed up. Gyarados instantly transformed into a Super Gyarados, and a roar that was even more majestic and fierce than before spread throughout the venue. The audience around subconsciously panicked, but after panicking, they confirmed that there was no danger. Seeing the super evolved Gyarados, they were full of interest, and talked about it. What kind of Pokémon is this? Can Gyarados evolve? What should it be called? No, it shouldn't be an evolution, but a mega evolution. It was introduced in the Pokémon magazine. Isn't that only in the Kalos region? Didn't the Hone region conduct research on mega evolution half a year ago? Now many regions have mega evolution. No, I remember the last big news. Wasn't the mega evolved Gyarados thinner? It could fight Kaga. It's a very powerful Pokémon. It's different from this one. Wait, speaking of that Gyarados, is this Zahu in front of us the legendary Hone champion? No way. How could the Hone champion come to participate in the grand contest? A group of spectators were talking about it, and the 3 judges were also amazed. This was the first time they saw Mega Evolution. And Zahu's face turned black. Use the Mega Evolution stone he gave to Mega Evolve Gyarados, and then fight him? Isn't this just like buying a knife and giving it to the enemy to let him kill himself? Brother Zahu, I know that Gyarados is no match for Sylph, so you won't object to it Mega Evolving? Zylaksha said with a smile. No, Zahu said with a smile on his face. What else could he say? In the backstage, Kona, who was watching the live broadcast on the screen, saw this scene and couldn't help but burst out laughing and said, Zahu is really going to fail this time. Sylph is the weakest of Zahu's 3 fairy type Pokémon. Although it is not weak, it is not strong either. There is no problem in beating Zylaksha's Gyarados, but if it is a Mega Evolved Gyarados, Sylph's strength will not be enough, and it can only be said to be a 50-50 match. If it is a normal game, it is not bad. Zahu's trainer level is higher than Zylaksha, and his command skills are much higher. In the end, Zahu will most likely win. But this is a gorgeous competition. Zylaksha specializes in it, and there is a 5-minute battle time limit and score limit, so this advantage is greatly reduced. For example, before Misty and Gyarados attacked, the appearance of a Mega Evolution deducted 1/8 of Zahu's score. If Zahu is not careful, he will really fail in the Sinnoh Grand Tournament. Next Gyarados wins this game, pray for rain. Misty took the lead in issuing an attack command. She didn't know what politeness meant when fighting with Zahu, otherwise she might be defeated by Zahu if she didn't react. In the venue, large clouds gathered automatically and rain fell. Misty venue. Zahu shot back, you control the weather, then I will take care of the ground. The fairy elf's ribbon fluttered, and a colorful light flashed on her body, seeping into the earth, and in the blink of an eye, it spread across the entire competition venue. Then, a large area of light blue fog rose, completely covering the figure of the fairy elf. Although the name of the move is Misty Venue, this fog is never thin. The fairy elf loomed in the fog, like an elf in the fog. The 3 judges' eyes lit up, and Misty's score was silently deducted. Misty Venue, what type of special move? Zylaksha was also confused. She had never heard of it. She habitually wanted to ask Zahu, the professional master, but seeing Zahu's expression, that he didn't want to pay attention to her, she silently swallowed the words that were on her lips. Misty Venue, one of the 4 types of Venue special moves, has the effect of being immune to abnormal conditions, and can also reduce the power of Dragon type special moves by half, and slightly increase the power of Fairy type special moves. Zahu explained unhappily. Although he disliked it, he had explained it so many times for this group of nonsense brothers and sisters that it had become a habit. The Misty Venue is on par with the Electric Venue, the Spiritual Venue, and the Grass Venue. The effects are as above. The current research is only on the first 2. The latter slightly increases the power of Fairy type special moves, which is Zahu's own discovery. Fairy type special moves tend to be the yin of the moon, which is perfectly combined with the power of fog, and can be slightly increased. Oh, so that's how it is. No matter what special move it is, just destroy it with Storm. Zylaksha said simply and roughly, Gyarados, Storm. As soon as the voice fell, a tornado of wind suddenly broke out. The wind suddenly rose, sweeping away the rain and the thick fog on the field. The fog rose, and condensed in the field. Shadow clone. Zahu said. In the field, in an instant, more than 10 fairy elves appeared in the field. How is it possible? In rainy days, Storm should be a sure hit. Zylaksha said in surprise. In Pokémon battles, there is no sure hit. The so-called sure hit is just a probability of up to 90% or even 99% under certain conditions. Zahu's mouth curled up slightly. Fairy elves, fairy wind. The fairy wind of more than 10 fairy elves blew a little bit of light, and the ground was blown. No, Gyarados, use Storm again to blow away the fairy wind. Zylaksha said anxiously. Gyarados controlled the storm, and was about to blow away the fairy wind around. A gust of fairy wind suddenly blew up in the center of the storm, tearing through the storm, that seemed a little weak due to Gyarados' command, and shot directly at Gyarados. Gyarados was immediately in pain, and showed a painful expression. After the super evolution, the power was enhanced, but the attribute changed from water flying to water evil, becoming restrained by the fairy type. Lightning flash. As the voice fell, a white shadow flew out of the storm quickly, rode on Gyarados' face, and knocked Gyarados away. Gyarados, use bite quickly, Zyraksha said anxiously. Gyarados raised his head quickly, and bit the fairy elf with a ferocious face. Lightning flash, jump on Gyarados' head, Zahu said as if he had foreseen it. The fairy elf's speed suddenly increased, turning into a white light, jumping onto Gyarados' body, and running quickly on Gyarados' body. Magic flash, Zahu said. The fairy spirit emitted a dazzling light and hit Gyarados. Gyarados struggled in pain and roared. Gyarados, hold on, use crushing, Zyraksha said. Gyarados endured the pain, and moved his head towards the tail, trying to bite the fairy spirit. It was a mollusk that could perform such a difficult move. Gyarados was fierce, but the fairy spirit's movement seemed to be slower, as if it had not reacted in time. It was a matter of life and death. The audience around couldn't help but feel a little worried. Sympathizing with the weak is the instinct of human psychology, especially when Gyarados is fierce and the fairy spirit is cute. Feeling the emotions of the people around him, Zahu's mouth curled up slightly. What Adam said was really right. Deliberately putting oneself in the fairyland and creating a tense environment can most easily mobilize the emotions of the audience. At the most critical moment, Zahu issued an order. Jump. In a flash, the fairy spirit suddenly jumped up, and Gyarados didn't react, and bit its tail. The whole Pokémon fell into a daze. Okay, fairy elf, magic flash, the final end, Zahu said. Fairy elf jumped lightly, and before Gyarados could react, the strong light on her body hit Gyarados, with a huge and terrifying momentum. Gyarados screamed, and the light on her body flashed, exiting the super evolution form, and turning into a normal Gyarados, losing its combat ability. On the monitor on the side, Zyraksha's score directly turned into 0. Zahu successfully advanced. Chapter 394 being excluded. Zyraksha still lost. Zyanagang said, although it was expected, the defeat was a bit too fast. Super evolution seemed to have no effect. The difference in experience. Zyraksha was too obsessed with her own fighting style. Kona shook his head. What does this mean? Zyanagang asked, puzzled. When Zyraksha uses Gyarados, she usually uses Pray for Rain first. On the one hand, it enhances the power of the water type trick, and on the other hand, it increases the hit rate of the storm, trapping the opponent's Pokémon, and making up for the weakness of Gyarados' inconvenient movement. Therefore, Gyarados' storm is not about the damage caused by the attack, but about trapping the opponent's Pokémon in the storm. But in fact, apart from the difficulty of getting out of the storm, it is not actually dangerous. So Zahu deliberately let the fairy elf stay in it, and then used the shadow clone to confuse Zyraksha, creating the illusion that the fairy elf is not in the storm. Because the effect of the mist field used before is still there, it can disrupt the line of sight, making it impossible to judge whether the rain falls through the phantom. So Zyraksha really thought that the fairy elf was not in it, and she wavered in her belief. Actively reduce the power of the storm to let the fairy elf break out and succeed easily. That's what you need to pay attention to. Don't stick to one way of fighting. It's easy to be targeted, especially when fighting with Zahu. Although Zahu won't study your fighting methods on purpose, he has a bad taste and will always take a look at your fighting methods when he's bored, so it's easy for him to target you. Kona said. I understand. Zyanagang and Zyanaguang nodded. What do you understand? Zahu suddenly appeared behind him and said. Brother Zahu, you're out. Zyanaguang said. Yes, I'll come out after I win. Where's Zyozhi? Zahu said. Zyozhi is playing now. His opponent is Zyanaguang, whom we just met. Zyanaguang explained. Zyanaguang? Zahu looked at the red-haired girl who was fighting Zyozhi on the field. The battle seems a bit one-sided. Zyozhi was suppressed by the player named Zyanaguang. Zahu looked at it for a while and said. Zyozhi was too focused and completely forgot that this was a gorgeous contest and he needed to use his special moves to show the charm of Pokémon. It was a passionate battle. If he could knock Charming Meow out before the time was up, he could still win, but using Long Tail, it was a bit difficult. Kona said. The opponent Xiaolang was quite strong. With Xiao's long tail, in the normal competition animation, the odds were 64 or 55, but in the gorgeous contest, the odds became 37. It depends on God. If you are lucky, you can still win within 5 minutes. If you are unlucky, there is nothing you can do. But it doesn't matter. Xiaozi is just here to play with long tail anyway, Zahu said. Kona and the others nodded in agreement. Xiaozi's battle ended in this situation. Before the final killing blow was about to hit, the 5 minutes were up, and he could only regretfully lose. Xiaozi, you still need to practice more. Why don't you also participate in the gorgeous competition when Xiaoxia and Xiaoguang participate in it in the future to accumulate some experience? As for the preliminary performance, you can let Long-tailed Monster Hand practice by himself, or you can figure it out by yourself. In terms of gorgeous battles, you are not here, and gorgeous performances, you have a good talent, Zahu said to Xiaozi, who came back to rest. Really, Xiaozi participated in the gorgeous competition several times in the animation, and he almost didn't practice much, but he passed around easily. When fighting, he was passionate, and not gorgeous at all, so all the points were deducted. So, the reason why he participated in the gorgeous competition was that you encouraged him. A cold voice suddenly sounded. Zahu turned around and saw Xiaolang, who had just fought with Xiaozi, looking at him with indifference. Yes, Long-tailed Monster Hand wanted to participate, so I suggested Xiaozi to play, Zahu said. So you are the same. You are obviously aiming for the SYNOPSIS League, but you still come to participate in the gorgeous competition, Xiaolang said. I participated in both, Zahu said honestly. In that case, I'll tell you again what I said to Xiaozi. I hope you don't come to the grand tournament. The grand tournament battles and the gym tournament battles are completely different. Xiaoguang said seriously. Is that so? So what you mean is that those who fight in the grand tournament can only participate in the grand tournament, and those who fight in the gym tournament can only participate in the gym tournament? Zahu said. Yes, the grand tournament is not a stage for you to play. Xiaoguang said seriously. Really? But why did I hear that the players in the grand tournament are all show-offs with no fighting power? Zahu said. That's just the prejudice of some ignorant people. The strength of the coordinated trainers will not be weaker than the strength of the trainers who aim to form the alliance. Xiaoguang said with a hint of anger on his face. Okay, your opinion is correct. Then the question is, a professional coordination trainer has the strength of no less than a trainer who aims at the league, so why can't a professional coordination trainer participate in the league competition to verify and improve his own and Pokemon's strength? Is it wrong for a coordination trainer to prove to others that coordination trainers have combat capabilities? Zahu said of course not. Xiaolang said, this question cannot be answered with yes. Then the question is, since coordination trainers can participate in gym competitions, why can't trainers who aim at the league participate in the gorgeous competition? Are you discriminating? Zahu showed a playful smile. Sure enough, the Bear brothers played too much and teased the little sisters, and they would feel fresh and happy. No, only by focusing on your own goals can you achieve great success. It is impossible to reach the top if you are distracted, and the gorgeous competition is not a place for people to play. Xiaolang said. Everyone needs to experience new things in life. The consequences are borne by the individual. If you really don't have the ability to practice both, you will naturally fail. If you do, what's the point of participating in both? Whether it's the league tournament or the grand tournament, they are not competitions for trainers and Pokémon to participate in together. It's natural to learn from each other. Little sister, don't be too stubborn. It will be unlovable. Zahu said. I will let you know the difference of the grand tournament and the competition. Xiaoguang glanced at Zahu indifferently and left. Not cute at all. Xiaoxia and Xiaoguang are still cute. Zahu shook his head. But I think Xiaolang is a good person. Xiaoguang said. Xiaolang helped her before. Generally, it's just that, when you meet people like Xiaozi and me who participate in both competitions, they will get stuck in a dead end, and then that's it. It needs to be educated. Zahu said. Take it easy, don't really leave her with a nightmare. Kona said. Don't worry, I know what's going on. Besides, the game isn't over yet. I don't know who I'm going to play against. Maybe we won't even meet. Zahu said casually. Kona nodded, not caring, and continued to watch the next game. Xiaoguang and Kajiro both defeated their opponents. Then Zahu played against Xiaoguang, and Xiaoguang played against Kajiro. It's really interesting that we bumped into each other by chance. Zahu muttered, and took the Pokeball to the court. Chapter 395 Nine-Tailed Fox. Charming Meow, ready go. Xiaoguang threw the Pokeball, and released an elegant and beautiful grey cat. Charming Meow, the creator's magic. Zahu couldn't help laughing when he saw Xiaoguang's charming meow. Evolution is a special talent given by nature to Pokémon. There is no complete and unified definition in the academic community, but it is generally believed that it is a natural gift that allows Pokémon to have stronger strength or even more perfect abilities. However, the reason why this definition is only common and cannot be unified is that many Pokémon evolutions are disliked. One of the representatives is this charming meow. Before evolution, it really lived up to the name of charming meow, full of charm. In the animation, Meow Meow fell in love with a charming meow at first sight, and it also burst out with godlike strength. But after evolution, its appearance dropped sharply. To make an analogy, it is like a young, beautiful, and slender girl who turned into a fat aunt in her 40s or 50s who was fat in the vegetable market. Before evolution, it was called charming meow, and after evolution, it was called Dangshi meow. From this malicious name, you can see how much its appearance has dropped. Therefore, among all the trainers that Zahu knew who had charming meow, basically none of them evolved it. Because it was really ugly. Charming versus charming. Then I will also have a gorgeous battle. Ninetales, let everyone know what charm is. Zahu threw the Pokeball lightly, and a red light flashed. Ninetales appeared elegantly in the field. Its posture was noble, and its body was as white as snow, showing amazing charm. It is a clear stream among the Pokémon of Lala, and it is not called that for nothing. Ninetales, Mistfield. Zahu said. The 9 tails of the Ninetales shone, blooming with a strange ice blue light. The blue fog in the field spread and rose, covering the entire field in the blink of an eye. The ice blue body of the Ninetales and the blue fog blended perfectly together, as if the Ninetales itself was part of the fog. The Ninetales is originally a spirit hidden in the white fog. Whether it is the Ninetales in other regions or the Ninetales in the Alola region, they are all the same. Especially the Alolan Ninetale, with a light blue and white color. It is even more looming in the blue mist, difficult to detect, which highlights the mystery of the Ninetale. The 3 judges were all amazed, and it seemed that they had never thought that the mist field could be used in this way. Xiaoguang's score was directly deducted by a quarter. Zahu smiled secretly when he saw this. This was an accidental discovery when he asked the fairy elves to use the mist field just now. After using the mist field, the gorgeousness of the Pokémon can be deducted from the opponent's points, so he discussed with the Ninetale for a while to create such a shocking effect. After all, the gorgeous competition is mainly to show the gorgeousness of the moves and Pokémon. The biggest feature of the Ninetale is mystery. Like Zahu's previous life, the white fox is special, not to mention that the Ninetale is a rare Pokémon that can live for 1,000 years. Especially at this time, the Alola Alliance has not been established and is almost isolated from other regions. Alola Pokémon rarely appear in the outside world, and there is no gorgeous competition in the Alola region, so Zahu's creation is considered a first, and the score is naturally higher. Xiaoguang's face darkened, and he clearly felt that Zahu was different from Xiaozi. Charming Meow, use Shadow Claw. Xiaoguang took the lead in attacking. Charming Meow leaped swiftly and quickly came in front of Ninetales. The ghost energy on its right claw gathered and attacked Ninetales. Magic Flash. Zahu said. The light on Ninetales in the thick fog would flicker, spreading along the thick fog and shooting directly into Charming Meow's eyes. Charming Meow's vision was blocked, and she couldn't help but stop moving. Xiaoguang's score was deducted again. Although Zahu's 2 tricks did not directly hurt Charming Meow, they both showed the charm of Pokémon, so they were both effective. The unique feature of the gorgeous competition. Charming Meow, scratch around like crazy. Xiaoguang shouted. Charming Meow's claws immediately danced rapidly, grabbing the thick fog around, so fast that it seemed like there were countless claws, and after images were left, Zahu nodded secretly. It was a good speed. It was obvious that it was professionally trained. However, such a skilled and crazy scratching made Zahu look at a certain Meow in the audience with resentment. You only know this one trick, and you haven't practiced it well. What's the use of you? Meow Meow in the audience felt a chill for some reason. After watching for a long time and not feeling anything, he thought it was an illusion and focused on watching the game again. Charming Meow scratched wildly, tearing through the thick fog around him, but still couldn't see the figure of Nine-Tailed Fox. Xiao Wang's heart skipped a beat. Nine-Tailed Fox, Irontail. Zahu shouted coldly. Nine-Tailed Fox's dreamy figure suddenly appeared behind Charming Meow. Its 9 tails shone together, like 9 whips, lashing at Charming Meow fiercely. Charming Meow, let's use Irontail too. Xiao Wang said anxiously. Charming Meow's spring-like curled tail suddenly stretched out, shining, and hit Nine-Tailed Fox's head. Because its tail was longer than Nine-Tailed Fox, although it was launched later, it arrived first. However, even in the rapid attack, Nine-Tailed Fox was still able to lower its head and just avoid Charming Meow's sharp iron tail, and then quickly approached Charming Meow. Charming Cat's expression suddenly changed. Before it could react, the 9 tails of Ninetales came crashing down and hit it. Charming Cat cried out in grief, feeling as if all the bones in its body were broken. Its whole body lay limp on the ground, revealing a pair of background eyes. Xiao Wang's score was also directly reset to 0. Xiao Wang's expression was stunned, as if he had never expected this result. He was defeated by just one move. Kona in the audience smiled bitterly and said, another time, the opponent's Pokémon was directly beaten to lose its combat ability. The traces of the gym competition are still obvious. Although he subjectively wanted to experience the gorgeous competition, because of his strength, he also had extra thoughts to show his moves and tricks, but habitually he still wanted to kill with one blow, mainly to knock down, especially since there was a gap in strength between the two Pokémon. Zahu also looked dissatisfied. It was not fun to play like this. He had specially created the Misty Field and the double shocking and charming effect of Magic Flash before. As a result, when the fight started, he won with one tail. It was a tiger head, but a snake tail. It was not interesting at all. It's better to play a gym match, at least there is a back and forth 3-3, we can still tease each other. Unlike this, it's only 5 minutes, and it's not easy to tease. Otherwise, I have to find a way to let it go a little bit. There is no pleasure in a crushing match. The pain of a moment is not lasting. How can you be called a demon king like this? Zahu pondered secretly and began to think about the changes in the gorgeous competition. Chapter 396, Pockets' Play. Kajiro, don't let me down. Zahu said to Kajiro across from him. The duel between Kajiro and Xiaoguang was not unexpected. Kajiro won. After all, Xiaoguang had just debuted and had been with Pokémon for less than a month, while Kajiro had been traveling for several years. It would be too embarrassing to lose. Yes, boss, I will beat you, take the celebration ribbon medal, and let you see the charm of the gorgeous competition. Kajiro made a bold statement. Really? I look forward to it. Zahu showed an inexplicable smile on his face, threw the Pokéball, and released Togekiss. In a game, a Pokémon, no one would not go on stage to achieve perfect train and you. Seeing Togekiss, Kajiro's face darkened slightly. It is easy to say bold words, but it is different to do it. However, since he has come up, he naturally has no choice. Catcher, let the boss see a level. Kajiro released Growlithe to cheer him up. Growlithe barked to show that it understood. It's a sunny day, Kajiro said. Growlithe's body surged with power, making the sunlight even stronger. Pockets, use the finger wave skill, Zahu said. Pockets' wings danced, and a strange special power surged, and then, Pockets landed on the ground, and then jumped. The 3 judges and all the audience looked a little confused. After watching so many gorgeous competitions, this is the first time I see a Pokémon use water splashing. On the display screen, Zahu's score was silently deducted by 1/8. This is really not gorgeous. Zahu's mouth twitched violently. Although he had a certain intention to let the water win, so he used the finger wave skill, but this luck is too bad. Or is Kajiro also a child of luck? Anyway, this guy has seen all the mythical beasts that Zyozzy has seen. Water splash? Kajiro was also stunned for a moment. He didn't expect Zahu to use such a trick, but he couldn't miss the opportunity, so he quickly commanded, Catty, use big word explosion. Flames spewed out of Catty's mouth, and a big word burst out of flames, spraying towards Pockis. Pockis, steel wings. Zahu said. Pockis, who was jumping up and down, stopped immediately after hearing the order. His right wing shone, bursting with a silver-white metallic luster, and suddenly chopped it, splitting the big word explosion in half. Sparks flew all over the field, colorful and gorgeous. The judges and the audience's expressions brightened slightly. Kajiro's score was slightly deducted. Kachan, use sacrifice charge. Kajiro said. Catty's figure flashed, and it approached Pockis, as if it had teleported, and bit it. Hold on. Zahu's voice sounded calmly. A layer of light yellow light rose up around Pockis, protecting his whole body. When Growlithe charged into it, it was bounced back, revealing a painful expression. Growlithe, are you okay? Kajiro said with concern. Growlithe shook its big head to show that it was fine. Kajiro waited for Zahu's order to attack, but Zahu still did not issue any orders. Instead, he said, there are 2.5 minutes left, Kajiro. I'll give you 2 minutes. I will only defend and not attack. I will only dodge and use Pokémon special moves for defense. In the last 2 minutes, I will finish you off. 3 minutes, boss. You are enjoying the fun of slaughter, right? You are not ashamed to do the same to me. Kajiro said with disgust. This is the end of the friendship. So you want me to take 1 minute to finish you off and make you fail directly? That's fine too. Zahu said. No, let's do this. 3 minutes, I will definitely deduct all your points. Kajiro said confidently. Kachan, explode, use flame wheel. A ball of flame burned on Growlithe's body, and the whole dog turned into a ball of flame, and rushed towards Togekiss. Togekiss, fly up and dodge. Zahu said. Togekiss immediately flew into the sky at a high speed and perfectly avoided Kajiro's attack. Growlithe, use flame wheel again, roll. Kajiro attacked without hesitation. Growlithe, which missed the attack, did not disperse the flames and return to its original form, but immediately condensed the flames again, turned over and spun into the sky, and attacked Togekiss. Dodge, Zahu said. Togekiss danced gracefully and just dodged, but when Growlithe fell from the air, the rotation of the flame wheel, when attacking Togekiss, was beautiful, and Zahu's points were still deducted. Growlithe, use it again, big explosion. Kajiro said. The moment Growlithe fell, just after dissolving the flame wheel, it raised its head again, and blew out a blazing big flame from its mouth. Divine Bird. Zahu said. A layer of blue Divine Bird Phantom appeared on Togekiss's body, and collided head-on with the big character explosion. The Divine Bird attached to the surface of the body, to resist the big character explosion's attack while attacking Growlithe, as if wearing a layer of flame armor, rushing towards Growlithe with unmatched momentum. The powerful aura locked Growlithe, frightened by the powerful aura of Togekiss. For a moment, it could not move, and could only watch the attack coming. Togekiss fell rapidly, the speed soared, but at the moment, when it was about to hit Growlithe, it suddenly flew up, and flew past Growlithe's skin. Growlithe escaped without danger. Kajiro breathed a sigh of relief, as if he had escaped from death, and quickly organized another attack, launching a series of attacks on Togekiss. Zahu commanded Pockissy to dodge Growlithe's attacks again and again, and his movements were elegant, fully demonstrating his gorgeous dodging skills. However, the gorgeous dodging showed less charm, and the opponent's points were also deducted less, so Kajiro's score was generally higher than Zahu. But Zahu was not panicked at all, but calm, and even had time to evaluate Kajiro's fighting method. When commanding Growlithe, you should be more confident, don't have extra hesitation, and be sure of yourself. Your Growlithe is good at agile jumping, use more flame wheels, and use less jets of flames. In addition, the big character explosion takes too long and can't hit. While attacking Pockissy, Kajiro listened to Zahu's advice, and then attacked Pockissy more fiercely. The attack frequency became more and more efficient, but he couldn't hit it no matter what. The expressions of the audience and judges in the audience all became strange. I've never seen such a gorgeous competition in my life. Is this a benefit given to the opponent by Brother Zahu? Zyraksha said. Getting guidance from a champion is something that countless trainers dream of. This is knowing the identity of Brother Zahu. If it is a normal trainer, they will collapse. Zyaraguang said. That's right. And in this way, we will definitely not get the ribbon medal. Zyraksha nodded, then looked at Kona pitifully. Sister Kona, please help me. Okay, I'll tell him. Anyway, he now has 2 ribbon medals of the Mikali Cup that can be used here, plus this one from Zuking City. There are 3. I will persuade him to only participate in 2. Kona said. That's not bad. At most he will be beaten twice more. Zyraksha said with a lucky look. But, are all champions like Brother Zahu, who likes to play? Zyaraguang said. She really couldn't understand why a champion would come to the gorgeous competition to bully children. Because Zahu is a trainer just for fun. Even if he doesn't have a Pokémon, his academic research can be written into textbooks. So happiness is the most direct, which may also be the reason why he and his Pokémon have a high tacit understanding, because they don't force winning or losing. The most important thing is to have fun. Kona said. Happy. Zyaraguang was a little puzzled. Everyone has a different standard for happiness, but as a coordination trainer, you have to keep yourself and your Pokémon happy, because the meaning of a coordination trainer is to convey beauty and positive happiness. Kona said. I understand. Thank you, Kona. Zyaraguang said. Boom. 3 minutes had passed, while the few people were talking. Zahu's gentle eyes became fierce, and a wave of missiles condensed from the wings of Pockis, hitting Growlithe accurately. When dodging just now, I also memorized Growlithe's movement. End it. Destroy the death light. Zahu said. Golden light flashed in Pockis' mouth, and terrifying energy was contained, which was vented strongly. Growlithe had nowhere to hide, and his limbs became weak. He knelt directly on the ground, revealing a pair of background eyes. Chapter 397. No Evolution Alliance. Is this the celebration ribbon badge? Zyaraguang looked at the ribbon badge in Zahu's hand curiously. She hadn't received one yet. Yes, it has a little bit of the characteristics of the celebration city, but it is similar to other ribbon badges. You will get one in the future. Zahu said. Thank you, Brother Zahu, for your encouragement. Zyaraguang said. Well, now the sun is about to set. Let's not go on the road. Rest here for one more night. Food, drink, and accommodation. I will pay. Zahu said. Thank you, Brother Zahu. Zyrazi and others said in unison. Zahu smiled slightly and saw Zyaralang, who was carrying a bag and was about to leave with Charmcat, and said, Little sister, work hard. See you next time at the gorgeous competition. Zyaralang's face was slightly dark, and he said nothing. The speed of movement suddenly increased and quickly disappeared from the sight of Zahu and others. It seems that one of them was scared. Zahu said. She dislikes you, boss. Kajiro said. If she could beat me, she wouldn't despise me, but teach me a lesson. Zahu said. Then you, a champion, don't feel ashamed to use your main pet to bully a little sister? Kona said. It's normal. And if I meet her again in the future, I will let her go. After all, I participate in the grand tournament and I also want to lose a little bit. Zahu said. Lose a little bit? Kajiro asked curiously. Yes, the gym tournament is not difficult for me. In the league tournament, there may be a person who is a little difficult, and the rest is almost the same as playing. That's why I come to the grand tournament, to find some failures to try. Zahu said. If you want to fail, follow me. No need for Dragonite and Lugia. Let's try it. Kona said, raising his glasses slightly. Zyraksha nodded silently on the side. She felt that Zahu really needed to be punished. No problem. Otherwise, let's participate in the grand tournament together. Zahu said. Zyraksha's expression was slightly pale. What did she hear? One more. Although there are many gorgeous competitions in the Sinnoh region, there are not many on the route of hitting gyms. If Zyraksha, Zyaraguang, and Zyrajiro want to participate in all of them, they have to win 15 games. Now with Kona and Zahu, the 3 of them really don't have to participate. You want to scare the little kids? I'm not interested. Kona said. Okay, let's go eat. After eating, take a walk here. There are still many famous things in Zuking City, like the B-Button Alliance. He will definitely like it. Zahu said. B-Button Alliance? What is this? He wondered. Why do you say he must like it? Because the B-Button Alliance is also called the Non-Evolution Alliance. The leaders believe that evolution is not the only thing and advocate the cultivation and development of the charm and power of Pokémon in the unevolved form. Zahu said. Is there such an alliance? Xiaoguang asked curiously. Of course, the world is so big that there are all kinds of things. There are many Pokémon who don't want to evolve. He has a lot of experience in this regard. Zahu said. Pikachu called cutely, hugged his hands, and had a proud expression on his face. As the initiator of the No Evolution movement, it is very authoritative in this regard. Apart from Pikachu, are there any other Pokémon that you don't want to evolve? Xiaoguang said. If he has experience, there should be more than one. Yes, my Bulbasaur doesn't want to evolve either. It once had the opportunity to evolve into Bulbasaur but it still didn't evolve. There is also Squirtle, but I think they will be very strong, even if they don't evolve. Besides, whether to evolve or not is their idea, and I have to respect them. Zhi said. Correct thinking. Xiaoguang, you should also think more about this aspect. Evolution is something that many trainers look forward to, but it is really hard to say whether it will evolve or not, and your current two Pokémon, Togeman and Curly, are most likely not to evolve. Zahu said. Neither of them will evolve. I'm quite looking forward to it. Xiaoguang said a little depressed. Pokémon should really like its current appearance and will not evolve. As for Curly, if it evolves into a long-eared rabbit, its height will double, and it will no longer be able to lean on Pikachu. I guess our cute Curly will not evolve until Curly falls in love with someone else. Zahu looked at Curly, who leaned on Pikachu without hiding his love after coming out. Okay, but as long as Pokémon and Curly are happy, it's fine. Xiaoguang quickly cheered up and said. Then after dinner, let's go to the Non-Evolutionary League. Zahu smiled. After enjoying a sumptuous meal in a restaurant, the group walked towards the B-Button League headquarters. Because it is one of the representative buildings of Zuking City, Zahu didn't take much time to see the B-Button League headquarters. If you didn't see it with your own eyes, no one would have expected that the club headquarters with such a low name would be larger than the Pokémon Center in Zuking City. Just as they walked to the B-Button League Center, Zahu and others heard the sound of fighting coming from inside. I walked in curiously and saw a Magikarp attacking a fat blue toad with a fierce look on its face above a pond. Is this a Pokémon battle? Xiaoxia was surprised. As a water attribute trainer, this was the first time she saw someone using Magikarp to fight Pokémon, and the fight was so fierce that she couldn't compare the one in front of her with the dull-looking Magikarp at home. It was like two different species. What is that blue Pokémon? Xiaoguang opened the Pokémon encyclopedia with a curious look on his face. Blue Toad, a vibration Pokémon. It lives in water and on the ground and uses its long and sticky tongue to wrap around its prey and then capture it. This is a blue toad. Why haven't I seen it before? Xiaoguang asked curiously. Because it is a Pokémon from the Unova region and it is not common in Sinnoh. Zahu looked at the trainer of the blue toad curiously. Xiudi, this kid really came to Sinnoh. Beautiful lady, I see you seem to be in trouble. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Xiaogang. Xiao means small and beautiful. Gang means strong. Xiaogang is young and promising, with the gentle personality of Tail and the brave personality of Kentaro. And he also has the strength and courage of a big tongue. A good man who stands tall and upright. By the way, may I ask your name, lady? While Zahu was still thinking, a voice suddenly rang. Zahu's mouth twitched slightly. He hadn't seen him for a while, and almost forgot that this guy's illness was not cured. Turning around, he saw Xiaogang kneeling on one knee holding a girl's hand on the ground next to him. Xiaoxia, Zahu said, Xiaogang's nemesis, it's your turn to play. No, I won't be needed. Xiaoxia crossed her arms and said with a relaxed look. Finally, I don't have to scratch Xiaogang's ears anymore. It's a relief. Zahu was stunned and saw a treasure ball flashing on Xiaogang's waist, and an expressionless bad frog suddenly jumped out and then stung Xiaogang's waist fiercely. It's numb. Zyugang fell to the ground with a look of pain on his face. The bad frog puffed up the membrane on his face, then calmly lifted one of Zyugang's feet and dragged him away slowly. Oh my god. Zyujiro was surprised that there was such a Pokémon. You found a fellow traveler, Zahu said to Zyujiro. No, my Pokémon are all fine. If I don't let them out, they won't come out to fight me, Zyujiro said proudly. Looking at Zyujiro's proud expression, Zahu was speechless. Being bitten on the head by your own Pokémon, you are still proud, right? Chapter 398 Goodbye Emperor Xiu. Hello, my name is Hatsune. The one fighting is my sister, Otto. The girl who was hooked up by Zyugang greeted Zahu and the others. Hello, Miss Hatsune. We are travelers who are traveling. We heard that there is a non-evolutionary alliance here, so we came to take a look. Zahu responded with a smile, but secretly muttered that your sister is called Hatsune. Shouldn't your sister be called Mireille? Is that so? Are you going to join the non-evolutionary alliance? Hatsune said. No, but my brother Zyuji is interested. His Pikachu is his original Pokémon. It was Pikachu when he first captured it. Now they have been together for almost 4 years, and it has not evolved yet, Zahu said. The issue of evolution has never been a big problem for Zahu. Among his Pokémon, the only one that resists evolution is Dragonite. After all, the body shape changes too much from Dragonite to Dragonite. Dragonite is elegant, mysterious, and even noble. Dragonite, although not ugly, but the fact name reveals a kind of silly cuteness. Zahu also hesitated whether to let Dragonite evolve. After all, Dragonite's ability to freely control the weather was really powerful, almost like that of a mythical beast. With the free rain prayer and the thunder that came at will, Dragonite was also very strong at that time. However, later, it evolved while fighting with the one in the Yanmojim. This was an unexpected situation that Zahu and Dragonite did not expect. After that, since it had come, Zahu began to provide psychological counseling for Dragonite. Everyone accepted this fact together. For the rest, there was basically no problem. Magikarp did not evolve into Gyarados for 5 years, which was also a problem of external conditions, not because Zahu or Magikarp did not want to evolve. Is that so? It was not Pichu that evolved. Then Zyuji, do you want to join our alliance? Let all Pokémon remain in their original form, Hatsune said in surprise. Original form? Zyuji's expression was slightly stiff. He has many Pokémon in their original forms, and he is also a teenager who specializes in collecting Pokémon from problem children. Many people who watch anime with prejudice and abnormal brain circuits directly define Zyuji as not liking to evolve, and they all hope that their Pokémon is cute. But in fact, it is quite the opposite. Zyuji does not reject evolution, and even looks forward to it. Just like when Bulbasaur showed signs of evolution, Zyuji was overjoyed and secretly followed Bulbasaur to see the legendary Incredible Garden. It was not until Bulbasaur firmly resisted evolution that Zyuji realized that Bulbasaur was unwilling to evolve. He thought that he had been wrong to strongly expect Bulbasaur to evolve before, and did not consider Bulbasaur's feelings. He should respect the choice of Pokémon about evolution. There is a huge difference between not forcing Pokémon that are unwilling to evolve, and not liking to evolve. Yes, we think that keeping Pokémon in their original form can also maintain strong power. I like Smelly the most, and we want to make Smelly the most beautiful. My sister Atoshi likes Magikarp the most, and we want to make Magikarp the strongest Magikarp in the world, Hatsune said. The world's strongest Magikarp, the world's most beautiful Smelly. Zahu's expression was subtle. Although he had read the introduction when he came, it was still a little outrageous when he really heard it. Evolution is not necessarily stronger than non-evolved, but most Pokémon usually do, especially Magikarp and Smelly. These two evolutions, one is the carp leaping over the dragon gate, the crow flying on the branch and becoming a phoenix, and the other is the ugly duckling turning into a beautiful swan. The most beautiful uglich in the world. Unless everyone in this world has a problem with their aesthetics, no matter how beautiful the uglich is, it is still uglier than minus. Bang! Just as Zahu and the others were talking, a loud noise came from the pool, and the Magikarp and the blue toad collided violently, and each fell into the water. This Magikarp is so strong, Zyuji said in surprise. It's really a bit cruel. Zahu said. It should be said that among the Magikarps seen so far, except for his one, it is the Magikarp that deserves the name of the most cruel. But can Magikarp be so strong? Kajiro said in disbelief. Yes. Zahu nodded. This is really possible. Through training, the swimming speed and impact strength of Magikarp can be accelerated. Even if it only uses the body to impact, it can defeat the opponent. Judging from the impact strength, this Magikarp has passed the ordinary level and is very close to the elite, and it may even be the elite level. Yes, this is my sister's Magikarp, the strongest Magikarp in the world, Hatsune said proudly. But, if it's so cruel, I suggest you listen to the Pokemon's own ideas and see if it is willing to evolve. Zahu said. HMM. Mr. Zahu, what do you mean? Hatsune said. The relationship between trainers and Pokémon should be equal. Forcing Pokémon that don't want to evolve, or abandoning Pokémon that don't want to evolve, are both incorrect behaviors. But if you let Pokémon that want to evolve not evolve, it's almost the same as forcing Pokémon that don't want to evolve. Zahu said. It's really good to be close to the elite level, but almost is the limit. The strength below the king really doesn't pay much attention to talent. For most Pokémon, it's really not to the point where talent is needed. But Magikarp happens to be a minority that is not in this majority. This is not a game. You can get experience by slacking off and keep upgrading. 6 Magikarp can defeat the 4 kings and the champion, and bloody the legendary beast. In reality, when it reaches the elite level, Magikarp has reached the talent ceiling, and it really can't go up. But Magikarp will be happy too. Hatsune said. Zahu didn't say much when he saw this. Other people's Pokémon were not abused, so Zahu could only make suggestions. If they were not adopted, there was nothing he could do. The people around were talking about it, but the battle continued. Zod looked at the Magikarp on the opposite side and said, Blue Toad, you's crazy. Blue Toad suddenly jumped and attacked Magikarp frantically, as if it was crazy. After a fierce battle, Magikarp was hit hard into the water. After a while, it resurfaced, just like a salted fish. The strongest Magikarp is just like this. It's useless if it doesn't evolve. Zod took back Blue Toad with an arrogant look on his face, said to the defeated Yian, then jumped off the stage, looked at Zahu and said, Finally I can see you here again. You said that I can fight you again in the Sinnoh League. Yes, but you have to make it to the Sinnoh League first, and not be eliminated in the first round, before you have a chance to fight me. As for now, I'm preparing to eat, so I don't have time to fight you. Zahu said. Are you scared? Zod said. You don't have the ability to scare me, little brother. Zahu shook his head, and was too lazy to play anymore, so he planned to leave. Who knew? As soon as he turned around, he saw a silly boy standing at the door and said, Zahu, I want to challenge you. This time I want to fight you 6-6, in an all-out battle. Oh my god, what day is it today? Why are all these ignorant little brats gathered together? It just so happens that I don't have time to play with my brother recently. Zahu said. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 399 ZODVS Xyanoheo. I'm the one who wants to defeat you. During this period, I have captured many Pokémon. I heard from Professor Sakuragi that you are here, so I came here to wait for you and compete with you. I want to let you know that I'm the most suitable trainer for Mew. Xyanoheo said. Suitable for Mew? Zahu rolled his eyes. I don't feel like fighting with you. If I don't fight, you will definitely stick to me like a dogskin plaster, which will annoy me even more. In this case, you two will compete first, and then the winner will compete with my brother Zyossi. If you win in the end, come to me tomorrow. If you lose, forget it. No problem. Zod and Xyanoheo said in unison. Zyossi doesn't need to be told that he can compete. He is the most passionate. By the way, Zyossi, if you lose, think of a plan to date Zyarksha. Zahu said. Zyossi was confused. Brother Zahu. Zyarksha also looked puzzled. What's going on? I said let Zyossi date you. You can refuse. Zahu responded with a smile. Zyossi nodded. He was expecting Zyossi to lose the game and then play a trick on Zyossi. Suddenly, he heard Zyossi blurt out, no matter who it is, I won't lose. Zyoshi's face suddenly turned black. In a second, the mermaid girl turned into a volcano girl. She pinched Zyos's neck with both hands and said, am I bad? Do you have to refuse so quickly? No. No. Zyos's face turned red, and he waved his hands, trying hard to survive. Zahu couldn't help laughing. He said that if he lost Zyos he would go on a date with Zyosha, just to hear this classic answer. If you lose, you have to go on a date with me. No, I will never lose. Brother Zahu, don't you care? Zyadaguang said worriedly. Zyos looked like he was about to die. It's okay. We just need to remember that Zyos was a decent person when he was alive. When I bury him in a grand manner, you can come to watch the ceremony. Zahu said. When he was alive. Zyadaguang looked down at the Pokemon in his arms. Did I hear something I shouldn't have heard? Pikachu walked silently to Zahu's legs. If someone hit Zyossi, it would let that person know what it means to be a Thunder King, but Zyosha is an exception. Zyosha, Zyadagang and Pikachu have a deep revolutionary friendship, especially Zyosha. Pikachu and Zyosha have a deep relationship to the point that Pikachu is unwilling to play a gym match with her. So when there is a dispute between the two, especially when Zyossi is slightly at fault, Pikachu said that he knows nothing. Okay, Pikachu, just take care of your little brother hard scale. You don't have to watch. I'll give you a big meal later. Zahu said. Pikachu patted his chest with his little hands, looking like don't be afraid, leave it to me, I have experience. It's really gratifying that you are sensible, much more reliable than Zyossi. Zahu smiled. Pikachu nodded his little head. Yes, that's right, that's it. Zahu couldn't help but be overwhelmed by Pikachu's cute appearance, but he was really relieved about Pikachu. Pikachu was really a nearly perfect partner, the brain core of Zyos's team, who could act cute, fight, command, conduct diplomacy, look after the house and baby, and had the amazing achievement of riding countless mythical beasts. When Chikorita ran away in jealousy, he secretly ran out to find her, and when the little elephant left, he also found the little elephant back. She is a well-deserved wife of Zyossi, with the style of a big wife. If it were Zyosha or Serena, it would be impossible. Serena is better, but it's good that Zyosha didn't eat Zyossi. Zahu suddenly realized that the reason why Zyossi had never found a girlfriend was because of this. Who can compare with Pikachu? The more Zahu thought about it, the more possible it was. He stretched his hand in front of Pikachu, and Pikachu climbed onto Zahu's shoulder very consciously. Okay, let's watch the show. It should be worth watching, Zahu said. Zyadaguang and the others naturally had no objection, so they prepared to watch the battle between Zyuheo and Xiud. Hatsune and Otto had no intention of refusing, and on the contrary, they took the initiative to lend the venue. It was not that they did not care about Xiud's ridicule at all, but they hoped that Zyuheo would defeat Xiud. After all, Zyuheo looked pretty good. Hurry up, I have to fight with Zhihui, and I don't have much time to play with you. Xiud looked at Zyuheo arrogantly and threw the Pokeball to release a Monarch Snake. The Monarch Snake's red eyes stared at Zyuheo, revealing a cold breath. Zyuheo felt inexplicably cold and quickly threw the Pokeball, released Flame Rabbit and said, Flame Rabbit, use the fire trick to let it know how powerful it is. Flame Rabbit kicked with its legs, and the flames flowed, showing extraordinary power. Is the Vine Snake evolved into the Monarch Snake? It looks good. Zhi, take a look. Your opponent is more likely to be Xiud. Zhihui said. Oh. Zhi nodded obediently. Flame Rabbit, use the charged flame attack. Zyuheo was the first to issue the attack order. Flame Rabbit suddenly moved, explaining why people use the phrase as fast as a rabbit to describe agility. Flame Rabbit's body was covered with flames, and it went straight to the Monarch Snake. Get out of the way, Xiudi said calmly. The Monarch Snake's body shook, and a faint after image appeared on the spot. Its body had already left Flame Rabbit's attack range. Stare. Zioheo said. The monarch snake's eyes became sharp, and it stared at Flame Rabbit fiercely. Flame Rabbit was frightened, and a drop of cold sweat slid down its forehead. Under the intense fear, its body became stiff. Sunshine Flame. Zod said. The monarch snake raised its head proudly, and a little light flashed on its body. Flame Rabbit, act quickly, the accumulation of Sunshine Flame takes time. Zioheo said anxiously. Flame Rabbit seemed not to hear it. After a while, it reacted and rushed towards the monarch snake at a high speed. Sunshine Flame, fire, Zod said disdainfully. The golden light flashed on the body of the monarch snake, and a strong beam of light shot out directly, hitting the Flame Rabbit. The Flame Rabbit screamed, and was blasted into the sky, falling heavily to the ground, revealing a pair of background eyes, and losing its fighting power. You are so vulnerable, and you are qualified to challenge Zahu with your strength? Zod frowned, not expecting that someone who dared to challenge Zahu would be so weak. This is not my strength. I will let you know my true strength. Scyther, come out. Zioheo said unwillingly, and released a Scyther. Scyther called out proudly, revealing the arrogance of a warrior. Scyther, not a bad Pokémon. Zod nodded, and then said, Monarch Snake, use Dragon Tail. The Monarch Snake's tail shone brightly, and it hit the Scyther fiercely. Scyther, use Tile Breaking. Zioheo shouted. Scyther's wings moved, and its sickle-like arms flashed and confronted the Monarch Snake head-on. The King Serpent swung its tail, and sent Scyther flying. Leaf Storm. Zod said. The dark green energy leaves on the King Serpent suddenly condensed, and then quickly formed a powerful storm, hitting Scyther in the sky. Scyther fell to the ground again, completely losing its ability to fight. This is your power. It really ruined my King Serpent. Release your third Pokémon as well, and we'll solve it all at once. Zod said coldly. You're talking nonsense. Zioheo retorted. Your Pokémon has no power at all. In Unova, any rookie trainer is better than you. As for Pokémon, it's hopeless and useless. Where did you come from, country boy? Fighting with you is a waste of my and King Serpent's time. Zod said mercilessly. Zioheo looked ugly, took back the Pokéball, and ran out without saying a word. Even if he is weaker, you don't have to say that. Zios, he said. What does it have to do with you? I just want to compete with your brother. If you have the ability to beat me, then you can talk nonsense. Otherwise, stay away. Zod said arrogantly. Okay, I will compete with you. Zios, he agreed. Okay, Pikachu, go ahead. If you win, I will buy you a bottle of ketchup to celebrate your success. Zahu smiled. Pika hearing ketchup, Pikachu's two little eyes sparkled, like little stars, and he jumped onto the field flexibly, and his two small electric bags emitted electricity. Chapter 400 Pikachu's Revenge. Monarch Snake, Glare. Zod was still a Monarch Snake, and seemed to think that one Monarch Snake was enough. Monarch Snake's red eyes were sharp, and there was a cold breath in his eyes. Pikachu, lightning flash. Zios, he said. Pikachu ignored Monarch Snake's gaze, ran quickly, turned into a ball of yellow light and hit Monarch Snake fiercely, and Monarch Snake was knocked back immediately. Pikachu, Iron Tail. Zios, he said immediately. Pikachu's tail shone brightly, and with a spin, it hit Monarch Snake fiercely. Monarch Snake, Dragon Tail. Zod said Monarch Snake's tail shone, and the spiritual power was drawn, and it collided violently with Pikachu's Iron Tail. With a sound, the two Pokémon separated from each other, and it was considered a draw. Why is Pikachu not affected by Monarch Snake's use of Glare? Xiaoguang asked curiously. Because the main effect of the Glare is to reduce the opponent's defense, not to make the opponent's body stiff. It's just that the Glare will bring great psychological pressure to the opponent's Pokémon, just like the Glare of the snake, so it can also achieve some of the effects of the Glare of the snake, making the opponent's Pokémon stiff. But this can only be done when the opponent's Pokémon is not strong enough psychologically, but for Pikachu, it's a fantasy. Zahu said. So that's how it is. Xiaoguang said suddenly. Next, it depends on whether it is revenge, or the shame of falling into the abyss completely. Zahu said. Revenge? Kona looked at it curiously, not knowing why Zahu used these two words. Zahu smiled and didn't say anything. In the Unova region, Zios's biggest black history is nothing. It can even be said that Zyossi in a parallel universe has returned everything he learned in the first 3 regions. It's really exactly like a new trainer who just went out at the age of 10. Zyossi in the game naturally didn't know Zahu's thoughts, but he was immersed in the battle again and fought with all his strength. Pikachu, use lightning flash again, Zyossi said. Pikachu ran quickly, and for the sake of ketchup, it was determined to fight. Monarch Snake, Leaf Storm, Zaudi shouted. A green storm emerged from the body of the Monarch Snake and rolled towards Pikachu. Pikachu was caught off guard and was hit by the leaf storm. He screamed and fell to the ground. Crazy plant, Zaudi shouted. The cyan power surged from the body of the Monarch Snake, and countless brown vines suddenly jumped out from the ground and attacked Pikachu. Pikachu, use Volt Attack to dodge, Zyossi said. Pikachu reacted suddenly and flexibly dodged a vine. The domineering electric current on his body flowed and flickered, and his speed soared to a terrifying level. He rushed out of the attack range of the vine at an incredible speed and hit the Monarch Snake strongly. The Monarch Snake twitched all over, and the electric current flickered, and it fell into paralysis. Pikachu, 100,000 volts, Zyossi said. Pikachu. A strong electric current surged from Pikachu's body, and a lightning bolt shot up into the sky, venting its domineering power on the King Serpent. The King Serpent twitched and revealed a pair of big circular eyes, indicating that it had lost its fighting power. Well, Regius finally doesn't have to die with his eyes wide open, Zahu said. What's wrong with you today? Although Zyos's Pikachu has fluctuated, it basically remains at the Elite Advanced level, and its health is as thick as a meat shield. If it fights with all its strength, it will be at the level of Aqua Seeking. Although King Serpent is not bad, it is just an elite in the general sense. Isn't it normal for Zyossi to win? Kona said. Yes, it's normal to win, Zahu said meaningfully, and then stopped talking, teasing the hard scale on his shoulder. I don't know if it's a natural habit, or if hard scale has learned bad things from Pikachu, but they are unwilling to enter the Pokeball, and they like to lie on Zahu's shoulders. Zahu considered that hard scale was too young, and putting it in the Pokeball might have an impact on it, so he didn't let it in. The result is that hard scale is getting closer and closer to Zahu. After all, it is a newborn baby, and it is easy to form a deep bond with the trainer. Now it probably regards Zahu as its father and Kona as its mother. Watch carefully, in the future, you will also have a data fight like this, Zahu said gently. Hard scale nodded, indicating that he understood, and looked up at the fight on the field, revealing a hint of expectation. One day in the future, I can also have such fighting power. So strong, I will no longer be afraid of being bullied by others. Hard scale's eyes sparkled. The fight on the field continued, and Zyossi and Zaudi fought fiercely. It seems that the temptation of ketchup is too great. Pikachu was 1-for-2, and finally the little flame monkey came on the field to harvest the last mini ice of Zaudi. Okay, the result is out. Zaudi, you should practice hard. If you feel that you are strong enough, challenge Zyossi again. If you win, come to me again, otherwise, I'm busy, Zahu said. Okay. Zaudi took back his Pokémon with an unhappy look on his face, then looked at Zyossi and said, I will come to find you again. After saying that, Zaudi carried his bag on his back and left on his own. Brother, Zyossi just now, don't you care? I saw him running out. Maybe he will be stimulated, Zyossi said. Anyway, he won't die. Why are you panicking? Losing a game, getting a little hit, you think you can't live, is it possible? At most, you will be depressed for a while. If you can recover, it means there is still a possibility of success. If you can't recover, it doesn't matter. It is indeed more suitable for him not to challenge as a trainer, Zahu said. He has never liked Zyossi, this naughty kid. Oh. Zyossi nodded obediently. After being with Zahu for these years, he has developed the instinct to listen to Zahu's words, and now he can't catch up. Thank you for showing a gorgeous battle. May I ask if you are planning to join the B-Button Alliance? Yain said with a smile on his face. Seeing Zaudi, who defeated him, being defeated by Zyossi, he was very happy in his heart. No, we are just here for a visit. We will continue to travel around, Zahu said. Becoming a member of the B-Button Alliance does not conflict with traveling. As long as we have the same beliefs, we are good friends. Yian said. But I think evolution is also very important. You should talk to Xiaozi. Zahu politely refused. How could he join this alliance? Not getting the answer they wanted from Zahu, the sisters Hatsune and Xiaozi put their ideas on Xiaozi, but Xiaozi certainly did not agree. Only Xiaogang agreed without any principles. However, Xiaogang really did not lose out, because he got the contact information of the two sisters. Zahu, who saw all this, didn't know whether to cry or laugh. Xiaogang was really hungry. Fortunately, he was still rational, and kept rational Takona, who had a master, otherwise Zahu would not be able to help but kill him. The next morning, they parted ways, and moved towards their respective goals again. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.